Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Doomsday. I can draw unlimited cards for bonuses. Chapter 1. Congratulations, Blue Star people, your planet has been selected as the global battlefield. There are 42 hours, 17 minutes and 56 seconds until the multiverse civilizations land. There are 2 hours, 17 minutes and 56 seconds until the global talent awakening of Blue Star life forms. Lin Kuan blinked once, and the 3 rows of text projected on his retina did not disappear, but the countdown changed from 56 seconds to 55 seconds. Then he squeezed forward in the crowded crowd. And no matter which direction he moved his body or sight in the crowd, the words moved with his vision. And the same words and countdown not only exist in Lin Kuan's eyes, everyone on Blue Star can see these words, announcing to everyone that great changes and disasters are coming. It is 10 o'clock in the morning, but the sunlight above is blocked by dark clouds, and the world is a little dim. The largest supermarket at the entrance of Longcheng Dijing community is crowded with people, all of whom are here to buy supplies. Don't cut in line. I have money. Give me supplies. Give me supplies. Beat you, the queue-cutting dog. A few people in the corner were cursing and fighting with dissatisfaction, and Lin Kuan took this opportunity to squeeze hard and squeeze to the front. In my memory, it was only this crowded when I went to the most popular tourist attractions during holidays. The owner of the supermarket blocked the entrance of the supermarket with tables and chairs. If you want something, tell him and he will take it. Customers who squeeze to the front just need to pay. I want a box of canned food, 3 boxes of bread or biscuits, a box of mineral water, a box of milk, and other chocolates or high-calorie foods. You can take whatever you like. This is the limit of supplies that Lin Kuan can take away. If he takes more, he will not be able to squeeze out of the crowd with those things. The boss with a goatee shook his head and said, the canned food and milk are all sold out. I can only give you a box of bread and a box of mineral water. There are only 2 versions of chocolate. If you want them, I will give them all. These things are a total of 22,000 yuan. If you want them, I will give them to you. Hearing this price, Lin Kuan was stunned. 22,000 yuan for such a small amount of things. Is this shopping or robbing? Before he could come to his senses, the people behind him had already started to push and shove. The one in front, are you going to buy or not? If not, get out of the way. The boss said impatiently, are you going to buy or not? If not, get out of the way. There are plenty of people who want to buy. Lin Kuan glanced at the supermarket behind the boss. It took him nearly an hour to squeeze to the front, and most of the shelves in the supermarket were empty. I want it. I see there are still now Zhang pickled mustard on that shelf. Give me a box. Add a box of pickled mustard, 28,000 yuan. A box of pickled mustard, 5,000 yuan. Lin Kuan never dreamed that he would buy such expensive pickled mustard, but he still gritted his teeth and quickly transferred out his fixed deposit, paid the boss, and got out of the crowd with the pitiful things. The people behind him envied him, but all looked at him with envy. Some even wanted to reach out to take his chocolate, but Lin Kuan discovered it in time and glared at them, don't touch my things. Lin Kuan's voice was so fierce that the man was startled and quickly got into the crowd and disappeared. The property management staff of the community did not come to work, and there was also a big commotion and sirens in the city streets outside. There were cars and people everywhere. On this weekday, few people went to work. Everyone went straight to the mall and pharmacy to desperately buy various supplies. This inexplicable countdown appeared from the 48 hours. It has been nearly 6 hours since it appeared, and the panic has begun. The official has not yet made a statement, only asking people to stay at home as much as possible, but most people have run out to buy supplies, and the argument that the end of the world is coming has exploded on the internet. Fortunately, before the situation has changed completely, the order has not completely collapsed. Although there is despair on the internet, no one knows whether the situation will develop in this way. Therefore, except for a few people, most people still maintain the minimum order. If the end of the world does not come, wouldn't it be dumbfounded? Squeezing out of the crowd with difficulty, Lin Kuan heard a louder commotion behind him, as if everything in the supermarket was sold out. Lin Kuan heard a pretty girl who had also grabbed some supplies say, this boss is crazy about money, he wants money more than his life. If he doesn't keep all these supplies for himself, when the global battlefield starts and the world ends, money will probably be nothing but waste paper. Who knows? What if we are all wrong and this is just a joke? He will make a fortune. Lin Kuan hurried past. The supermarket's supplies were sold out, and the eyes of people who didn't have supplies around them gradually changed and became red and hot when they looked at those who had supplies. Lin Kuan didn't dare to stay and attract attention. He quickened his pace, turned into the community, and returned to his small home of less than 30 square meters on the 7th floor of building number 5. He put down the things in his hands and closed the door, and then he felt relieved. There was still a faint commotion downstairs, as if someone really had a fight, and some people were shouting at the doors of several other supermarkets in the community. But the doors of those supermarkets were closed, and they had no intention of selling their stocks. Lin Kuan put away the supplies, and with the supplies he already had at home, he didn't have much supplies. If he didn't replenish them, he could only support them for 2 weeks at most. There were enough medicines. This was because Lin Kuan bought medicines before buying supplies, which delayed the time of buying supplies. However, Lin Kuan estimated that even if the supermarket still had a lot of supplies, he could not afford so many things. Then he sat on the sofa, rubbing his head, feeling a little depressed. He is a time traveler who has just crossed over a few days ago. This world, named Blue Star, has almost the same geographical structure as the Earth that Lin Kuan is familiar with, except that there are not many countries in this world. After World War II, the world was unified to form a federal system. The person he traveled through was 27 years old. He lived alone in the most prosperous magic city in the federal China region. His parents died young and he didn't even have any relatives or friends. With his own efforts, he bought these things in the magic city of Longcheng Dijing community. A small house of more than 30 square meters. He doesn't live very well, but he can tell that he is a pretty good person. Thinking back on this, Lin Kuan had an indescribable feeling in his heart. He had just accepted his new identity and new life in the past 2 days. He thought he was just living in a different world, but who would have thought that this would be the case here? He didn't know why he traveled through time, and he couldn't predict what would happen next. He had done everything he could do, and all he could do was wait. Wait. 2 hours later, 7 billion people around the world on Blue Star will awaken their talents. Turn on your phone and browse various WeChat groups and major platforms, not only to see if you can find any useful information, but also to kill time. All kinds of information and speculations on the internet have already exploded. The federal official has no clear reputation, but is just reminding everyone. Don't do anything illegal and stay home as much as possible. In addition, there are a large number of brick experts refuting various rumors. There are a large number of police and staff on the streets, trying to maintain order as much as possible. Just when the countdown reached 40 o'clock, the bottom row of the 3 rows of text in the eyes suddenly disappeared. Then, more text was printed on the retina, appearing in rows and disappearing in rows. The same situation appears in the eyes of everyone around the world. Suddenly, the entire turbulent world and the information exploding network fell silent. Everyone stared at the changes in their eyes without turning their eyes. Everyone understands that this information may be related to their lives. The global battlefield is about to begin. As Blue Star natives and participants, you will have the opportunity to awaken your talents. Every Blue Star person will open the attribute panel, which can be called by voice control and projected directly on your retinas. Each of you will also receive an awakening talent based on your own characteristics and related attributes. Awakening talents are random, and talents are divided into 7 levels, Fedsibias. F is the weakest and S is the highest. May your God bless you. After these words ended, the network that had just calmed down exploded again. Sure enough, it is a global battlefield, a war of civilizations. The civilizations of other worlds are coming, and the end is coming. The strength of our awakened talent will determine whether we can survive the future global war. Oh my God, based on my own characteristics and related attributes, I can't even carry rice. Isn't the awakened talent the worst? At this time, federal officials finally released the news, and the information flooded the screens of all major platforms. All federal citizens, please stay in a safe place and prepare to awaken your talents. Our civilization is about to undergo a huge change. The Federation will fully protect everyone. I hope you can stay calm, actively cooperate, and don't be blindly impulsive. Please trust the federal government in everything. Still within control. Lin Kuan had no time to read the following information. Because there was a sudden bang in his brain, like a thunder exploding, and his head suffered severe pain for a moment. A new row of text appeared before his eyes. Congratulations, you have successfully awakened your talent and your personal panel is being generated. Then, a panel suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. Name, Lin Kuan. Level, 1/100. Strength, 7. Agility, 6. Physique, 7. Energy, 12. Tip, all the above data have a standard value of 10 for ordinary people. Talent, card drawing bonus ability. Type, Traveler Talent Unique. Talent Ability Rating, Super S Level. Talent Ability Level, Level 1. Description, after testing, you are an individual from another world and civilization, and you are also the only participant in that civilization. You will receive special bonuses and can obtain technological weapons from your world by drawing cards, physical materials, fantasy skills and attribute bonuses. The current number of card draws remaining, 1. His identity as a time traveler was actually recognized. Moreover, he was identified as the only participant who traveled to this blue star from the previous world. His awakened talent received special bonuses, and he was a Super S level talent that was not even mentioned in the previous reminder. Top talent, fantasy skills from various movies and anime, materials from another world, and technological weapons can all be drawn out. If it weren't for the time traveler talent bonus, with my almost all below average attributes, I would probably have to awaken the worst F level skill. Lin Kuan took a deep breath. He knew that his basic attributes could not be counted on. If he wanted to survive in this world, he would have to rely on his Super S level ability. Blue Star, Federation Year 177, June 15. Magic City. There are still 39 hours, 51 minutes and 22 seconds left until the civilizations of the multiverse land. The countdown continues slowly, and various platforms on the internet are already in a frenzy, with everyone talking about the newly awakened talent. It took less than 9 minutes for someone to upload the video. Lin Kuan saw a 5-second video in which a man opened the grating of his window with his bare hands. The thing was as fragile as 2 bamboo chopsticks in his hand. There is also a video of a group of thugs. In only 12 seconds, they rush onto the street. The leader is breathing fire with both hands and burning the rolling shutter door of a supermarket in front of him while howling excitedly, "Ha ha ha, I have AC level talent for fire control. I am a coder. Hand over all the supplies to me. I am a superpower. I don't care what the hell you do." The next second, there was a loud gunshot, his head exploded, there were screams, police sirens quickly approached, and the scene ended abruptly. Lin Kuan browses the internet. Many people have announced their talents. He found that F-level and E-level talents were basically very weak. They were generally partial bonuses to the body, or even visual and hearing bonuses that seemed to have little effect, while D-level and C-level talents were comprehensive. Physique, strength bonus, and even some incredible fire and water control abilities. After that, there are fewer people who disclose their talents, and the information is very limited. But Lin Kuan speculated based on his own situation. He estimated that the higher the level, the more powerful the abilities. Low-level talents are physical changes, higher-level talents are superpowers, and even higher-level talents should be various top-level superpowers and conceptual superpowers. During this time, WeChat was also full of messages. There are people talking in work groups, university groups, and community groups, either talking about their own situations or asking questions about others. In the unit group, the former leader was particularly humble today and took the initiative to say, "Colleagues, I have only awakened F-level talents. Who among you has awakened D-level talents or above?" The implication is very obvious, I also want to find a thigh. Unfortunately, this leader used to be very oppressive to everyone. It was common to work overtime without pay. He would never give anyone a day off if they really had something to do at home. Some people even missed the last time with their families because of this. At this time, even those who usually liked to flatter him fell silent. Usually, you do it for your livelihood and work, not because you really deserve respect. In the community where Lin Kun is located, news is flying all over the place. Has anyone successfully awakened? I have awakened the F-level talent, am I dead? Awakening. I am a D-level talent. Power bonus. Power bonus. Brother, what kind of D-level talent do you have? Which building are you in? Can my sister go find you? Everyone's awakening talents seem to be generally at levels E, F, and D. Level C and above seem to be only 1 in 1,000, and level B and are even rarer. I'm curious, do you really have S-level talent? I am the captain of Building 3. Has everyone awakened? The higher-ups require that everyone report their awakening abilities to me and coordinate the arrangements. In the WeChat group of Lin Kun's Building 5, someone from Fan Wenchuan, the building manager, sent a message, saying that he had found someone who had awakened B-level talents to protect everyone, and asked everyone to send him their abilities privately. She wanted to organize people. Some people excitedly talked about their abilities, while others just watched indifferently and remained silent. Lin Kun is one of them. The situation is undecided now and he doesn't know what the situation is. It would be unwise to rashly reveal his abilities. He has no intention of joining in the fun. Judging from the current situation, below D level, almost all are regular physical bonuses, and above D level, there are all kinds of weird superpowers. The higher the awakening talent, it can almost be predicted that the strong person will be in the future. It is more possible to survive in the global battlefield. Of course, that is the future. Lin Kun noticed that individuals have levels, and talents also have levels. For example, his current ability to draw cards is at level 1. The same should be true for other people. They also need to improve to become stronger. It does not mean that you are invincible after gaining superpowers. This is what happened to the C-class awakened ones in that short video. Even though he can breathe fire, he can't hold a shot. If you forget about yourself after gaining abilities, you are either a fool or a second-rate person. Lin Kun took a deep breath. The person he traveled through was also a very difficult person. He had been working hard to make money and had few friends. At this time, he didn't even have anyone to say hello to. There was a blind date on WeChat. I met her 2 days before I traveled through time. She was a beautiful woman in my memory, but I haven't gotten along with her yet. The other party only sent a message and got straight to the point. Lin Kun, do you have any extra supplies and medicine? Lin Kun glanced at it but didn't reply, silently sorting out the information he had. Judging from the available information, his talent is definitely the most special, it is Super S level, and is closely related to his status as a time traveler. These are his biggest secrets and must not be told to anyone else. Moreover, even if he is Super S level, he must improve his personal level, improve his talent level, and play a real role. This will be your trump card for survival. The countdown is not over yet, there will still be some time before the global battlefield begins. After a moment, Lin Kun came back to his senses, took a deep breath, activated his abilities, used his natural abilities, and started drawing cards for the first time. The use of his ability was a very strange feeling, as if an electric current had passed through his head, and the so-called card drawing seemed to be carried out in his brain. But he quickly finished drawing the card, and the personal interface in front of him suddenly began to change. A card slowly emerged. It was a beautiful woman with three-dimensional facial features and a distinct mixed-race feeling. She was dressed in a tight outfit, giving people a sense of being capable and shrewd. The moment he saw her, Lin Kun's eyes suddenly shrank. If he remembered correctly, isn't this the headshot girl, Newman, in the black robe picket team? Sure enough, the text under the card read, Name, Bang. Type, Skill card inherent. Description, use this skill card to obtain the superpowers of Victoria Newman, the headshot girl of the black robe picket team. Tip, load this skill card to get a little physical bonus. In the Black Robe Patrol, Newman, the head exploding girl, hides very deep. Her ability is not the strongest, but it is extremely vicious. She hides in the corner and blows up the opponent's head or body with a glance. Moreover, it is difficult to find out who did it with this ability. It is not only an ability with full plasma effect, but also a trick of an old fool. The first time he drew a card, he actually drew a fantasy skill. Others may only awaken one innate superpower, but Lin Kuhn's card drawing ability means that he can have countless superpowers. Thinking of the rich fantasy ability of the world he came from, Lin Kuhn was a little excited. Not only that, loading this card can actually give him a little physical bonus. He took a deep breath and chose to load the ability without hesitation. Soon, he noticed that his attribute panel had changed. Name: Lin Kuhn. Level: 1/100. Strength: 7. Agility: 6. Physique: 8. Energy: 12/12. Hint: the standard value of all the above data for ordinary people is 10. Talent: card draw bonus ability. Current card draw times remaining: 0. Skills: 1. Bang. Skill level: Level 1 within a radius of 10 meters centered on the self. Look at the target, and use this skill to destroy any part of the carbon-based life body. The current upper limit of the target's physique that can be directly blasted, 16. When using this skill on an enemy with a physique exceeding this value, the effect will decrease. This skill is consistent with the setting of the headshot woman in the black robe using this skill. It has a certain pre-swing, requires eye gaze and a certain range. Moreover, not everyone can headshot. In the original drama, this ability is almost a one-shot kill for ordinary people, but the effect will be greatly discounted for other superhumans with extraordinary physique. However, this skill is more detailed through the personal panel. Can I kill the target within twice my physique? Lin Kuhn pondered. Improving one's own physique attributes may directly improve the lethality of this skill. However, normally speaking, with a physique of 10 as the standard, a physique of 16 is already inhuman, right? And from this point of view, the skills obtained by drawing cards can also be upgraded. Currently, this skill is at the first level. However, whether it is a skill upgrade method, a level upgrade method in the personal panel, or even a talent skill upgrade method, there is no such method. Lin Kuhn looked at the posts on the internet. Some netizens analyzed that this may be because the global battlefield has not officially started, so everyone naturally cannot upgrade. Now it is like a warm-up stage of a game. Everyone needs to understand what abilities they have first. As for upgrading and completing the main task, they have to wait until the game officially starts. It seems that how to get more card draws will also be known after the battlefield is opened. Lin Kuhn guessed. During this period of time, the riots outside expanded for a while, but now they have calmed down again. Perhaps the gunshots heard from the city just now have calmed people down. The internet is getting more and more lively. The D-level awakener is named Yong Lin. He said directly in the community group, "Don't worry, I used to be a gym coach, and now I am a D-level master. If something really happens, I will be the first to stand up and protect everyone's safety, but I don't have much supplies. I wonder who is willing to sell me some." Now everyone holds the resources tightly. Other ordinary people in the group are ignored. As soon as Yong Lin opened his mouth, a girl immediately said, "I have it here, brother, can I go directly with the supplies?" Quote. He also posted a selfie, showing his hot body and innocent appearance. Lin Kuhn just watched these things coldly. It was already past noon at this time. Lin Kuhn stood up. There were still some vegetables at home, which he bought 2 days ago. These vegetables could not be kept, so he cooked and ate them first. After dinner, Lin Kuhn sat in front of the computer and started to cram various Doomsday survival knowledge, first aid knowledge, wild vegetable identification and other skills that might be useful on the internet to equip himself as much as possible. Although he is a time traveler, he is just an ordinary person. In fact, he is as panicked and uneasy as others, but he has an advantage, which is that he can force himself to calm down. Try to use the limited time to do something that may be useful in the future. He wants to live. The countdown appears, the talent awakens, and brings great changes to the world, but things like the internet, water and electricity are still in supply. But when it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the voltage was still unstable, and the internet was disconnected most of the time. Lin Kuhn came to the window and looked around. There were police patrolling far and near. I don't know about other places, but the public security here is still under control. Not only that, a lot of panicked people gathered downstairs in the community, in groups of 3 or 2. Some people felt that there was more people to feel safe, and the others were looking for information everywhere, hoping to know as much as possible about what will happen next. Lin Kuhn was moved when he saw this. It was still safe downstairs now, Maybe he could go downstairs to test his ability. Although he had acquired the ability, he didn't know how to apply it specifically. After all, the ability he extracted required living things to use, and in the rental house within a 10-meter range, Lin Kuan had never seen even a bug. As for houseplants, as a golden bachelor, how could Lin Kuan have such things at home? He walked downstairs slowly and saw the building manager Fan Wenchuan downstairs. He really gathered a lot of the residents of building number 5 formed a small group centered around him, and followed his lead. Even residents of other buildings took the initiative to cling to him. Lin Kuan did not approach, but turned to other places. There was no chaos in the community, but it was obviously not peaceful in the Magic City. Lin Kuan could hear the sirens and some chaotic sounds on the streets outside in the community. Some places were the calm before the storm, while others had already begun to fall into chaos. Lin Kuan began to test how to activate his ability. He was not so crazy, and he did not really want to blow up the heads of innocent passers-by. He just wanted to see how his ability worked. He focused on a young man in the corner who was bragging about being an E-level talent. He had a kind of perception in his mind. It seemed that as long as he thought about it, he could kill the young man who was surrounded by a group of people and boasted about himself with a headshot. But the other party didn't notice at all. This means that the opponent's constitution has not reached 16 points. Lin Kuan's heart moved. This magical perception is quite interesting. He doesn't use headshots, but he can also use this kind of perception to get a glimpse of the approximate value of other people's physiques, and others don't seem to be able to detect it. His skills are really targeted headshots and death stares. Hidden and murderous. Why not see if there are any experts with high physical fitness in this community? Lin Kuan was curious and did what he thought of. He walked slowly through the neighborhood, pretending to be as frightened as everyone else. His eyes swept around the crowd, and he discovered that he had the ability to headshot almost anyone downstairs at the moment. Very few people can reach 16 points in physical fitness. Suddenly, Lin Kuan's footsteps stopped, because he noticed a tall, capable and beautiful woman with a physique of over 16 points hurriedly passing by on the other side. That sense of his told him, his skills can't hit this person's head, at most they can blow a bloody hole in the opponent. What surprised Lin Kuan even more was that the woman was walking hurriedly towards building 2 opposite. At this moment, as if she suddenly noticed something, she suddenly stopped and looked this way like lightning. However, when she looked over, Lin Kuan had quietly disappeared into the crowd. The other party can sense his gaze, and his physique is over 16 points, so he is probably a master. Lin Kuan remembered the woman, but at this time, he was stopped by Fan Wenchuan. I remember you, you are also from our building. Fan Wen said, are you interested in joining us? You are definitely not as safe as a group of us by yourself. It seems that your talent level is not high, right? Otherwise it's impossible to wander around downstairs looking for opportunities. Most of the people milling around downstairs now are low-level talent awakeners who want to join a group to keep warm. The high-level ones are not afraid at all and don't need to go downstairs to look for opportunities. Am I right? Lin Kuan shook his head. I'll think about it again. Fan Wenchuan just smiled. I believe you will make the right choice. In his opinion, an ordinary young man like Lin Kuan has no ability or talent. If he refuses him, he is not smart. Therefore, Fan Wenchuan did not persuade him much. In his opinion, Lin Kuan's refusal was Lin Kuan's own loss. But Lin Kuan didn't really go upstairs. Instead, he moved to a hidden position in the corner flower bed. Lin Kuan came down once, not only to master how to apply the ability, but also to verify its power. Understand how much your abilities are so that you can make good use of your abilities when needed in the future. Killing innocent people indiscriminately is a fool, but using it on flowers and plants is not too much, right? Looking at the flower bed, Lin Kuan was about to activate his ability, but before he could move, he suddenly heard an earth-shaking loud noise, the ground shook, and people around him shouted. Lin Kuan was immediately dumbfounded. I haven't exerted my power yet, so it's so powerful. But he quickly realized it wasn't him. Because people from far and near were shouting, and the loud noises continued after the first sound. The army has entered the city. The army has entered the city. I don't know who took the lead. Panic spread for no reason, and the residents downstairs began to run into the building in droves. Federal troops entering the city. Lin Kuan was still thinking when his expression suddenly changed. Because at this moment, the strange countdown text in front of him suddenly changed. Rows of new text appeared. Dear Blue Star people. An announcement is now being broadcast. One of the participating civilizations, Bakadan civilization, used 1 million contribution points to purchase and use the priority landing rights for this global battlefield. Bakadan civilization will enter the game in advance from now on. Other civilizations will still enter after the countdown ends. Blue Star Global Battlefield enters the war stage in advance. All Blue Star indigenous participants, please be prepared for battle. Log in early. Lin Kuan looked up in horror and saw an extremely terrifying gap opening in the sky. A giant, sailing boat, thousands of meters long, slowly sailed out. In the dim sky, a huge space crack spread all the way to the end of the vision. It was a giant flying object that had never been seen on Earth. At first glance, it looked like a sailboat, but it was extremely huge, and the steel was cold, emerging from the sky. And there was more than one. Lin Kuan stood on the ground and looked far away. He could see that the whole sky was flickering. Across the sky of the Magic City, a large number of giant sailboats emerged. In a farther position, explosions sounded one after another, and the flames formed a line at the end of the vision. There were dull noises everywhere. In the near distance, Longcheng Dijing community was in chaos, and the people who had just gathered downstairs retreated in panic. They are coming. It's a war. It's a civilization invasion. Run, run. Fan Wenchuan and others were also retreating. He also pulled out the B-level talent awakener he invited, and asked him to protect everyone. Look, there's a ship coming towards us. Lin Kuan was also retreating. The army came, but the army did not come to Longcheng Dijing community. There are only a few patrolling policemen here. From the giant, sailing, spaceship above their heads, dense silver landing craft flew out at this time, falling to the ground like raindrops, covering the entire area. One of them was heading in their direction. And more words were emerging in front of Lin Kuan. The Bakadan civilization has achieved priority landing, and its landing area is Magic City, San Diego. The above areas have been locked. What does regional locking mean? Lin Kuan didn't know, and he didn't have time to think about it, because the text projected on the retina, which had not moved much in the past few hours, was rolling densely at this moment, and more information appeared. One of the participating civilizations, the Uran civilization, used 1 million contribution points to purchase and use the priority landing rights of this global battlefield. One of the participating civilizations. A large number of civilizations spent millions of contribution points to land in advance. The army had just entered the city, but the legion from another civilization had already covered the entire Magic City. They came prepared. They were already prepared. The landing craft was extremely fast, but it did not land, but only flew low over the sky opposite the Dragon City Dijing community. It was not big, nor did it carry any weapons. It flew low, and 5 heavy figures fell directly from above. Those were the Bakadans. They had a very strange appearance, and were over 2 meters tall, like a combination of spiders and humans. The lower part was a spider-like body structure, and the humanoid body stood upright, with masks on their faces and enlarged rifles in their hands. As soon as they landed, they dispersed and fired wildly around. They were hot weapons similar to those used by humans. Several police officers nearby tried to stop them, but were knocked down in an instant. And they were extremely fast, scattered and moving at high speed. Humans were like ants in front of them and were slaughtered wildly. Under their masks, they let out excited howls similar to laughter. They seemed to enjoy this scene very much. On Lin Kuan's side, everyone's face changed horribly, and they all retreated crying. Even if they had the ability to awaken, few people would think of using it. In the face of blood and death, there was only boundless panic. One of the Bakadan lifeforms even went straight to the downstairs of building number 7 where Lin Kuan and his group were. Fan Wenchuan's group, who had just been united, were in a panic when the disaster was imminent. None of them listened to Fan Wenchuan's command and blocked the entrance of the building. They squeezed each other and no one could get in. They even squeezed Fan Wenchuan, who they had just been trying to curry favor with, out. Fan Wenchuan's face turned pale. He desperately pulled a young man in black clothes beside him and said desperately, "You are a B-level talent awakener. Go ahead and kill them. I will give you all the supplies you want. Go ahead." Seeing this scene, Lin Kuan also hid behind the flower bed, relying on this hidden corner to cover his figure, and dared not make a sound. Because the Bakadan lifeform had already slaughtered crazily, the few old men and women who ran slowly behind were shot to death one by one. Among them were many familiar faces to Lin Kuan, all of whom were old people who used to take a walk downstairs. They even took the initiative to greet Lin Kuan. But now, at this moment, someone finally stood up. It was the awakener who had just boasted about his E-level talent. He found a steel bar from somewhere and roared, "Why are you all running? There are so many of us, and everyone has talent. Are you afraid of this fool? In the War of Civilizations, everyone is a warrior, and I have an E-level talent." When he spoke here, many smart people were not completely fooled by the panic atmosphere. They stood still and obviously planned to give it a try. The Longcheng Dijing community is very large and there are many residents. The 5 monsters were scattered and almost all of them were alone at this time. Instead of waiting to be shot and slaughtered, it seems to be a wise choice to attack in groups. There are many of them. Lin Kuan's pupils also shrank. He also planned to attack in groups. Running away is not a solution. Only by killing as many people as possible can you have a chance to survive. But the creature of the Bakadan civilization was not within 10 meters of his position, so his skills could not be activated. He was weak and could not be the first to go up. Otherwise, he might be shot dead before he even gets close. His skill is a dirty trick, which requires waiting for others to attract the monster's attention first. The E-class was the first to attack. He was also smart. He didn't act blindly. He found an opportunity for the other party to change bullets and rushed directly to the monster. However, the creature of the Bakadan civilization saw him rushing towards him, and threw away the weapon in his hand. He grabbed the steel bar in the young man's hand with his backhand, and then stretched out his other hand. The power of the two sides seemed to be very different. No matter how hard the E-class tried, he couldn't break free. So, in his horrifying screams and the horrified eyes of everyone, the E-class was torn in half alive. Blood splattered, and internal organs were scattered all over the ground. The grin and howl of the Bakadan civilization became the craziest shadow in everyone's eyes. Everyone showed a look of fear at that moment and retreated desperately. And the Bakadan civilization seemed to enjoy the slaughter and fear very much. It strode forward and even stopped using guns. Its strength and physique far exceeded that of humans, and it could tear humans apart alive with its bare hands. Those E-level and F-level talent awakeners, even if they want to resist, are no match at all. Even if everyone has talent, most of them have low-level talent, and there are no real combatants here, they are all ordinary people. Talent alone is useless. On the ground, blood flowed like a river, and the screams of panic had completely torn the tranquility of Longcheng Dijing community. In the building opposite, the fitness man who had previously boasted that he had D-level ability in the WeChat group was standing in front of the window holding the innocent girl, staring at the scene downstairs. The woman in his arms whispered, "Brother, this monster is too scary, you will protect me, right? It is not your opponent, right?" "Yes, it is not my opponent. If I were downstairs, I would have killed it long ago. But the lives of these people below, we don't need to care about them, The strong man swallowed hard, and while speaking, he hugged the woman and retreated step by step, retreating into the shadows, and retreating to a position where the monster could never see him. At this moment, the target of the Bakadan creature was exactly the direction where Lin Kuan was, where Fan Wenchuan and others were. Because there were too many people blocking here at the moment. It was an excellent target. Fan Wenchuan was pale. He and the people around him desperately pushed out the young man in black who seemed to be a B-level awakener. He has become the hope of everyone here. The young man in black did not seem to be as reliable as they thought. As soon as he was pushed out, he only took a look at the bloody Bakadan civilization life, and his heart and gallbladder broke, and he wanted to run away. What a joke, this kind of monster, can he fight it? Tear a living person with his hands. Run, must run. The young man in black turned his head and wanted to escape, but his legs were soft, his body was short, and he almost slid to the ground. He was dumbfounded. Panic was boiling. This was instinct. He almost shouted out, "It's dead, it's dead." But what they didn't know was that in the blind spot of the flower bed that they didn't notice, there was also a person squatting behind the flower bed, staring at the monster, as nervous as they were. It was Lin Kuan. The 10-meter distance had already entered. The Bakadan civilization creature was parallel to the flower bed, and the straight line distance from Lin Kuan was less than 5 meters, but it didn't notice Lin Kuan. Start perception prediction. Lin Kuan was worried that the physical fitness of this Bakadan civilization creature exceeded 16 points. The result of the feedback was, it can be headshot. Its physical fitness is less than 16 points. At that moment, Lin Kuan's heart seemed to slow down by half a beat, and he endured the discomfort brought by the bloody smell around him and directly activated the skill. Lock. Start. It all depends on this. The headshot felt strange. Lin Kuan felt as if something was pulled out of his head in an instant. Then there was a dizziness and trance in front of his eyes. But the effect was terrifying. The creature of the Bakadan civilization was still grinning a second ago, but the next second, its head was blown to pieces. Like a watermelon put in a microwave. Bang! In front of everyone. The blood plasma exploded. Its huge body shook and fell to the ground with a bang. It fell in front of Fan Wenchuan and others. Because the distance was too close, the splashing blood even splashed on the face of the young man in black. At that moment, there was a moment of deathly silence in the field. Then there were exclamations and ecstasy. Fan Wenchuan said, "Dead. Dead. It's worthy of being a B level, awesome, awesome." Others followed suit. Obviously, in their view, the death of this Bakadan civilization creature was the credit of the B-level talent awakener they invited. Because this is the only explanation. At that moment just now, only the B-level was in the front. But what they don't know is, the young man in black was also confused. The Bakadan civilization creatures approached. He was so scared that he couldn't even run. How could he fight? Although he was B-level, Fan Wenchuan and others didn't know his specific abilities. His awakened talent was auxiliary, called Holy Light Summoning, which could illuminate and heal injuries. At a low level, this ability had no killing power at all. He didn't even know why such a weak ability was B-level. He had to use his ability to cheat, thinking about forming a group first. When Fan Wenchuan found him, he didn't think much. Who would have thought that such a scene would appear soon? Therefore, the young man in black was sure. He didn't kill this monster. But, who is it? Who is so awesome? I can't do anything with my B-level talent to this Bakadan civilization life, who can do it? The young man in black swallowed hard, turned around under the pull of Fan Wenchuan, and looked at the people behind him, watching them look at him with respect as if they were looking at a big boss. He thought, the real big boss may be hidden among these people. Who is it? Who is it? He began to regret it a little now. Who knew there would be a global civilization war? Who knew that monsters would appear so quickly and so scary? What to do? I am now regarded as a big boss. Next time, won't I still be pushed out? The young man in black wanted to say that I am not. But Fan Wenchuan had already rushed up excitedly, pulled the young man in black's hand, raised it directly, and said, I found a B-level talent awakener to protect everyone. Come on, don't squeeze, let's go into the building in an orderly manner. With Brother Li here, we don't have to be afraid. This scene just now and Fan Wenchuan's words gave everyone enough confidence. The panic was still spreading, but people were much calmer and began to enter the building in an orderly manner to avoid. Fan Wenchuan then whispered, Brother, I won't let you protect us in vain. I will double the amount of protection money and materials I promised to give you before. I don't think anyone will object. Hearing these benefits, the young man in black swallowed hard, swallowed back the words he was about to say, and gritted his teeth and said, Quick, let's hide in first. There are 5 monsters coming. If we kill one of them, the rest will definitely come quickly. In fact, at this moment, Lin Kuan also had the same idea. He was standing up from behind the flower bed, looking anxiously into the distance. Other monsters should come soon. Hide in the building first. However, he was much calmer at this time. His skills can be used. Can kill these Bakadan civilization creatures. What he has to do is to hide himself deeply. Only in this way can he secretly snipe and minimize his risk. The scene of the crazy massacre just now made Lin Kuan feel cold in his heart. He had no idea now, so he could only hide and survive. However, he found that as he used a skill, the value of his energy column actually changed. Energy, 10/12. Using the headshot girl skill once requires 2 energy points. No wonder I feel dazed. It turns out that my energy has decreased. Not only that, Lin Kuan found that the text in his eyes changed again. New text rolled out. You have successfully killed an alien civilization creature and obtained +1 civilization contribution point and +50 experience points. You have unlocked the civilization contribution point. You have unlocked the upgrade system. 10 civilization contribution points can be used to draw a skill card. 100 civilization contribution points can upgrade your current talent skill to level 2. Accumulate enough civilization contribution points to unlock civilization technology or exchange for special civilization permissions. Note: every time you kill an alien civilization creature in the global battlefield, you will immediately get a civilization contribution point. Is this how you upgrade? Killing a Bakadan civilization creature also gained 50 experience points. So, if you kill another one, Lin Kuan's personal level can be upgraded to level 2. What changes will there be when the personal level is upgraded? There are also contribution points, which are extremely useful, but they can only be obtained by killing alien civilization creatures. No wonder these civilizations rushed to enter the battlefield in advance, and those people from the Bakadan civilization even landed directly without saying anything and started killing. To them, these native humans are just a group of walking contributions. At this time, life from the Bakadan civilization appeared in the other 2 directions. This time it was 2. They have learned of the death of their companions and are coming quickly. But this time, they no longer held up their power, and started shooting wildly from a long distance away. Anyone who dared to show up among the buildings would be hit with a hail of bullets. Fortunately, in just a moment, Fan Wenchuan and the young man in black also hid, and they were all suppressed in the building. 2 Bakadan civilization creatures are quickly approaching the body of the previous Bakadan civilization creature. They are obviously much more cautious. Step by step closer. Examining the body, everyone was extremely surprised. They did not expect that some of the humans they slaughtered could actually kill their companions. Their technological level is actually only slightly better than humans, but their life forms are higher, and everyone is a warrior. They massacre civilians and are even killed by civilians. Fan Wenchuan, the young man in black and others were suppressed and could not even lift their heads. The forest group was hiding behind the flower bed, moving silently and slowly, wandering in the blind corner of the field of vision Og. After seeing the effect of contribution points, he understood that it was a life or death battle between them and the alien civilization. These 2 Bakadan civilization beings must also be killed. While they didn't notice him, they were completely attracted by Fan Wenchuan and others, so he found an angle and sniped directly. In the corridor, the bullets flew off the walls, and a few unlucky ones were even shot through the walls and died. Fan Wenchuan and others were trembling with fear, all their eyes focused on the young man in black. "Brother, help! Brother Li, big boss, go out and kill them. Hurry, otherwise we will all be dead when they come in." These people are extremely scared. The young man in black is the hope of all of them. But the young man in black broke into a cold sweat. Get out of here. He doesn't have that ability. Wouldn't it kill people to death if they went out? These people were looking at him, but his eyes swept around the people around him. "That big guy just now, come out quickly. If you don't come out, we'll be dead when those 2 monsters come over." Little did he know that the real boss he was looking for was not here at all, but was hiding in the corner outside. This young man in black was panicking here. He instinctively poked his head out to take a look, and his face turned pale with fright. Because the 2 Bakadan civilization creatures also looked over. They all raised their guns. However, that's all. In just a second, the head of the first Bakadan civilization creature exploded again just like before. The young man in black blinked. The other Bakadan was shocked. It didn't see how its companion died. It instinctively retreated and fired wildly. But it still aimed in the wrong direction. Then, the next second, its head also exploded. Blood splattered. Lin Kuan's energy dropped to 6, which was far below the normal line. He felt everything went dark before his eyes, and he fell down behind the flower bed. The outside world seemed far away at this moment. There is an ethereal sage feeling with 10 consecutive tubes. Although he has 12 points of energy. But never use 0. Otherwise, you will definitely die. 12 points of energy. Use skills up to 5 times. Lin Kuan gasped for breath, but saw new words appearing on the interface in front of him. Battlefield rankings have been opened. Please set your battlefield ID. After the setting is completed, you can view and enter the rankings. Longcheng Dijing Community. Location in Building 1. The 2 remaining beings of the Bakadan civilization all looked down at a device on their wrists. It showed that all 3 of their companions' vital signs had disappeared. One of the Bakadan beings looked at his captain. This, no signal, no warning, killed 3 of our companions in a row. I'm afraid there are human masters in this community. The captain was very calm. The body of a human woman was stepping on it. At this moment, it was forcefully pulling the woman's body apart, picking up the girl she was desperately protecting under her body, and holding it in its hand, with a clicking sound. Blood mixed with bone stubble flowed down from its palm. It looked at this scene cruelly and said in Bakadan's unique language, "It seems that we are lucky. That human master can kill 3 of us silently. The 2 of us may not have been opponents in the past. Let's not move yet. Report it to the command center immediately. We need to take advantage of these stupid natives to annihilate all their potential individuals before they grow up. Then let's do it now. Avoid that direction and continue to massacre these humans, they are all contribution points. We must earn back all the 1 million points spent on early landing." As it spoke, a terrifying fierce light appeared in its pupils. It was a crazy night. The young man in black was surrounded by people and became a big boss by accident. Just now, he looked over to check, and the 2 Bakadans died suddenly. If it wasn't this young man in black who took action, who else could it be? One lady even knelt down in front of the young man in black. The rest of the people were also talking and excited. It's too strong. The people Mr. Fan has hired are so powerful. I thought I was dead just now. Boss, you must protect us. Is that a B-level talent? How on earth did he do it? Their heads exploded after just one look. Sigh, I wonder how my family is doing. Hide, hide. Some people ran out desperately to pick up the Bakadan weapons, but those people just picked up the weapons. The guns that were almost half a person tall made a rapid clicking sound, and then exploded, killing the upper bodies of those people. They all blew up. From then on, no one dared to get their hands on those trophies. Fan Wenchuan originally wanted to step forward, but when he saw this scene, he instinctively took a step back, turned his head, and saw Lin Kuan in the crowd. He still remembered Lin Kuan's rejection of him. In his opinion, now the facts have proved that he was right. If he hadn't found the big boss with B-level talent awakening, they would all have died here. Therefore, Fan Wenchuan stretched out his hand, stopped Lin Kuan, and said, "I know you bought the supplies. Do you want to share them and join us? You have also seen how powerful the B-level masters I found are." Seeing the huge changes in the Magic City, the military still doesn't know where it is. Now, tying up this powerful B-level talent is the only option to survive. And if you want to tie up the other party, you naturally have to come up with supplies. Fan Wenchuan was not trying to win over Lin Kuan, he was clearly trying to divide Lin Kuan. Lin Kuan was in the 10 fat sage time, and his brain was not working properly. He couldn't care about Fan Wenchuan. He glanced at him, pushed through the crowd of young people in black, and went upstairs with frivolous steps. He was worried that the remaining 2 would come and kill him too. He used it 2 more times, but it reached its limit and he had to hurry upstairs. It takes time to restore energy. As for fawning over Fan Wenchuan, there is no need at all. The only thing Lin Kuan was a little strange about was why those people were gathered there. He didn't know that all the credit for killing 3 Bakadan civilization creatures was attributed to others. But he didn't care, quickened his pace, and hurried upstairs. His head was empty, his steps were weak, but his heart was beating fast. Seeing Lin Kuan walking away in a daze, Fan Wenchuan frowned. A skinny man beside him who was fawning over him immediately said, "This guy is so weak, I'm afraid he was scared to death. Brother Fan, let's go upstairs quickly." Fan Wenchuan also nodded and found the young man in black who was still in a daze. Li Xinghe, come on, let's go upstairs. Li Xinghe is the young man in black. He became the big boss that everyone gathered around, and was surrounded by a lot of people, but only he knew that it was not him at all. He was deeply puzzled. Who is that? People were panicked, and everyone hid in the building and looked outside nervously. The community has become a river of blood, and the dead are lying on the ground floor, but the living are still terrified. Gunshots and screams from far and near, as well as the terrifying giant sailing ship flying through the sky, indicate the beginning of the end. The global war has begun. Fan Wenchuan and others were crowded on the first and second floors, guarding the big boss Li Xinghe like stars holding the moon, for fear of being too far away. Lin Qun returned to his home, stayed for a while, drank a bottle of water, and ate a bowl of instant noodles before he felt better. Energy also rises with recovery. From 6 to 8. Effective resting and eating should speed up energy recovery, but if you are constantly stressed or moving, you probably won't have as much energy. I just wonder if there is something like a blue bottle. Only then did Lin Qun have time to study his gains. The first thing to open is the personal panel. His stats changed a bit. In the personal level column, it becomes level 1 150/100ths. There is a plus sign at the end. 1 Bakadan civilization creature is worth 50 experience points, and 3 is 150. He has reached the standard for personal level improvement. Lin Qun pondered for a moment, then with a thought, he clicked. Immediately, Lin Qun felt as if he had been hit by electricity. My whole body felt numb for a moment. Immediately afterwards, he actually felt that his body became lighter. Looking at the panel again, his attributes have changed. Name, Lin Qun. Level, 2 52/100ths. Strength, 8. Agility, 7. Physique, 9. Energy, 8/14ths. Tip, all the above data have a standard value of 10 for ordinary people. Talent, card drawing bonus ability. The current number of card draws remaining, 0. Skill, 1. Bang, skill level. Level 1 within a radius of 10 meters centered on itself. Looking at the target, you can use this skill to destroy any part of the carbon-based living body at a fixed point. The current maximum physical limit of the target that can be directly blasted is 18. When using this skill on enemies whose physical constitution exceeds this value, the effect will be reduced. Strength, agility, and physique have all been increased a little. Of course, these slight improvements have not yet reached the level, and Lin Qun's perception is not obvious, but the biggest change is undoubtedly energy and physique. The physique has been increased a bit. The explosiveness of his headshot girl skill has been directly improved. The upper limit of energy has also been increased. His energy is far beyond ordinary people. 14 points of energy. He can use his skills up to 6 times without risking his life. It's equivalent to 1 more bullet than before. If the personal level can be improved all the way, as long as the physical fitness can continue to rise. With this skill, wouldn't it be possible to explode even a god's head? Thinking of this, Lin Qun's breathing slowed down for half a beat. This is definitely a magical skill. It was also the first skill he drew based on his ability to draw cards. God knows what else will be pulled out in the future. Your personal level needs to be improved, and your skill level must also be improved. And the most important thing is to get more opportunities to draw cards. Others only have one ability, but this headshot female ability is just Lin Qun's first ability. Thinking of this, he calmed down and prepared to investigate the theater ranking system and its most important contribution points. Upgrading talents and getting more opportunities to draw cards all depends on contribution points. The sky outside the window is bright and bright. Dense explosions lit up high in the sky, and many giant, sailing ships landed first. At the far end of the city, their clusters seemed to be engaging in firefights with the military, but unfortunately they were too far away to see clearly. A large number of various aircraft followed closely behind, all carrying the lives of the Bakadan civilization, and they swarmed to various locations in the demon city in overwhelming numbers. Are those their warriors? Perhaps, they were once civilians, like these people in Longcheng Dijing community, but now, they are all soldiers, and the tens of millions of humans in the human city below are the real civilians. The so-called awakening of talent cannot make people live too long. The community fell silent. Lin Kuan looked down from his floor. It was dark below, with no people in sight or sounds. The two remaining Bakadan figures disappeared. Those who were still alive hid as much as possible, and there were few buildings with super masters like Li Xinghe. Most people are afraid to speak out, terrified, praying that those terrible creatures will not appear outside their doors. Lin Kuan was slightly uneasy. There were a lot of noises in the corridor of his building. Fan Wenchuan and these survivors are undoubtedly more confident. Lin Kuan took a deep breath, sat down in the corner again, and continued to check. The battlefield ranking system has been launched. You must confirm your ID before you can view and log in data. Lin Kuan pondered for a moment, and instead of using his real name, he used the ID he often used in the game, Yi Ying. Subsequently, the battlefield ranking system was officially launched. With a thought, a new panel appeared in front of Lin Kuan. There are 3 options above, namely, global ranking, civilization ranking, and regional ranking. The global ranking is gray and cannot be entered, because the global battlefield has not been officially opened yet, and it is only an early login now. Only civilization rankings and regional rankings can be viewed. All shown are personal rankings. Lin Kuan thought for a moment, then looked at the civilization rankings. That's a huge ranking that's constantly changing and scrolling, refreshing in real time. At this moment, the top of the rankings were all filled with strange words that Lin Kuan had never seen before, and the translations and regional locations were noted at the back in a language that Lin Kuan could understand. Ranking is based on contribution points. And in this ranking of civilizations, the ones at the top are all alien civilizations. The top 10 alien civilizations even have over 10,000 civilization contribution points. This means that they killed tens of thousands of aliens. You don't need to think about it to know that those killed by them are definitely human beings. The numbers that are constantly refreshing and rolling are thousands of fresh human lives. From early login to now, in less than 2 hours, someone actually killed so many people. Lin Kuan looked at the civilization ranking at the top. It is a Bakadan civilization creature translated as Bakali, and its location is actually in the Magic City. Lin Kuan felt a chill in his heart for no reason. This is a terrible and crazy civilizational war. In this war, there are only winners and losers between civilizations. Killing each other and gaining contribution points is the only goal of all participants. Can you survive on your own? Lin Kuan didn't know. The network has been disconnected. On the civilization ranking list, there is not a single human name among the top tens of thousands. Lin Kuan quit with a heavy heart and clicked on the regional rankings. But entering the regional rankings, the same is true. In the Magic City area, there are 5 urban districts in the Magic City, East, West, North, South, and Middle, and 6 detailed rankings, and none of the humans can be ranked. However, among the regional rankings, there is a ranking list that only displays one's own civilization. Lin Kuan was a little curious and entered the Dongcheng district where his Longcheng Dijing community was located. Only then could he see traces of humans. The one at the front is a person named Sha Cheng, who has 10 contribution points. Contribution points can only be obtained by killing hostile civilization creatures, which means that this person has killed 10 Bakadans. Is he from the military? Or a super master? Lin Kuan scrolled down the interface and found that he was also on the list, ranking 9th. Kill 3 and you'll be ranked 9th. This situation doesn't look good. He knew that there might be people whose registration IDs were not displayed on it, especially soldiers from the military. They should have killed a lot of Bakadans. Despite this, it is not difficult to see that the current situation is not optimistic. Lin Kuan also found an introduction to the ranking below. It turns out that there are rewards for getting a high ranking on this battlefield list. As long as you can rank first for 24 hours, you will be rewarded with a lot of extra contribution points. The larger the list, the more generous the rewards will be. Ranking first on the global battlefield will be rewarded with 100,000 contribution points at a time. For example, the smallest area where Lin Kuan is located, the first in the city list, has only 30 points in rewards. Decreasingly from the top of the list, there are rewards up to 10th place. Lin Kuan ranks 9th. If he can hold on for 24 hours, he will get a civilization contribution point. Lin Kuan looked upward. Get hot. If he can become 7th, he will get 3 contribution points. If you can reach 5th place, you will have 5 contribution points. He finally understood why the Bakadan civilization creatures were slaughtered crazily as soon as they landed. They were all competing for ranking. Lin Kuan thought to himself, your experience in hunting us down and killing us on the spot is also our experience. He knew that sitting still and waiting for death was not the answer. He must use his skills well, be a proactive old Yinbi, collect 10 contribution points as soon as possible, and start the skill lottery again. And the function of contribution points goes far beyond that. There is also a dedicated redemption mall for contribution points. There are no living materials here, only weapons, ranging from tens of millions or even billions or trillions of black hole weapons, super battleships, annihilation weapons, to knives that can be redeemed with just 1 contribution point, etc. There is everything. The content of this series is to make these civilizations go crazy, fight desperately, and massacre each other. Whoever kills more can exchange for terrifying top-level weapons. With one move, the dimensionality reduction strike can directly kill the opponent. Lin Kuan's heartbeat slowed down by half a beat. Who initiated and led this kind of civilized war? What kind of existence can start such a war? It is so crazy and twisted, as if it is just to let countless civilizations fight to the death, and until now, Lin Kuan has not seen the conditions for this crazy global hegemony civilization to be judged as a winner. Do we want to kill all other civilizations? Lin Kuan took a deep breath. He doesn't have that high level of awareness. He couldn't care about civilized things. The top priority was to become stronger and survive. Now he only has 3 contribution points, which is not enough to exchange for card drawing opportunities, but he can exchange them for weapons in the contribution point mall here. Lin Kuan's eyes moved. To exchange for a pistol, you only need 1 contribution point. 30 rounds of pistol ammunition can be redeemed with only 1 contribution point. Should I redeem the weapon first, or keep it until I reach 10 contribution points? Lin Kuan pondered while browsing, and suddenly his eyes lit up. He saw something. That is, energy recovery potion. There really is a blue bottle. Energy restoration potion elementary. Description. Using this item can instantly restore 3 points of energy. Purchase requires 1 civilization contribution point. Lin Kuan directly exchanged a bottle for spare use. With just one blink, a small brown medicine bottle that looked like Shuangwanglian appeared in Lin Kuan's hand. It looked ordinary, so Lin Kuan put it away carefully. At this moment, the internet, water and electricity have been cut off. The city was bustling with noise, but Longcheng Dijing community fell into an eerie silence. After a short rest, Lin Kuan's energy has returned to 14 o'clock. He stood up and prepared to go out. That's right, just go out. At this moment, the whole community is in trembling fear. Every household is closed, terrified and afraid to go out, but Lin Kuan is the only exception. He wants out. Instead of waiting for others to come to him, he should go out on his own. Get more contribution points as quickly as possible. Because Lin Kuan discovered that in such a short time, his ranking had dropped from 9th to more than 30, but the first place was still the person named Sha Cheng. She already had 25 contribution points. What kind of madman is this? It's just crazy. Lin Kuan doesn't seek to be number 1, but he wants to be among the top 10. It would be best if we can finish 5th or 6th. It's not impossible. Although the first player has killed 25, the current 5th player only has 10 contribution points. Just do what you think of, and from the very beginning, the Bakadans in the sky landed like dumplings. It will be difficult to get out when their numbers increase. They are obviously all soldiers. The first and second floors downstairs were all filled with survivors. The residents of the entire building were crowded together, surrounding the Class B named Li Xinghe. Only then did Lin Kuan realize that all the credit for killing 3 Bakadans in a row was attributed to this guy from Li Xinghe. Lin Kuan also glanced at the guy. Li Xinghe occupies a living room alone and is sought after by everyone, but there is no trace of excitement on his face. Instead, he feels as if he is sitting on pins and needles. Of course, this expression was cold and severe in the eyes of others. Only Lin Kuan could see what he was thinking. It was usually good to be regarded as a boss, but being treated as a boss now was a double-edged sword. On the contrary, Lin Kuan was among the crowd, unnoticed and unnoticed. Fan Wenchuan led people on the other side to collect everyone's supplies. Although he also had Li Xinghei's back, he felt like one person was inferior to 10,000 people. Lin Qun took one look and slipped out quietly. No one paid much attention to him, except for a hot DJ girl with clairvoyance skills in the corner. He glanced at her by chance and was a little surprised. Is he crazy if he dares to go out by himself at this time? Of course Lin Qun is not crazy. Instead, he moved along the river of blood. Bringing into play the experience of playing and eating chicken, he moved forward in a wretched manner, looking for the location of the Bakadan people. His physique is too weak, far below average. If he is discovered by the Bakadans first, he will die. Therefore, he must be cunning enough. Only by discovering the Bakadans first can he kill them preemptively. However, what Lin Qun didn't expect was that the Bakadans were very easy to find. They are at the gate of the community. Moreover, there were more than just two as Lin Qun thought. The two people from the Bakadan civilization are welcoming another team of Bakadan people. A whole 12. The first one, who was taller and seemed to be the Bakadan captain, was wearing black armor and was talking to the other two Bakadans. 14 Bakadans. Lin Qun broke into a cold sweat. When they are gathered together, they are no match for themselves. He's not stupid either. He immediately realized why there was no sound after he killed the 3 Bakadans just now. It turns out they are waiting for additional troops. Now, the extra staff has arrived. And at this moment, the black-armored little leader suddenly turned his head and looked in the direction where Lin Qun was hiding, and then suddenly stretched out his hand and pointed this way. Several Bakadans around it suddenly started to move. Found. Lin Qun was shocked, but he didn't cover it either. He had already killed 3 Bakadans and had long since overcome his fear. You look at me, and I look at you. The headshot female skill is activated directly. A burst of blood splattered. However, this time he failed to get a headshot, and blood splattered. The armor around the neck of the black-armored leader exploded, and the blood exploded into pieces. Its body stumbled back with a look of shock. The Bakadan people around it were also in chaos. They all gathered around and defended the black-armored leader. They were all shocked. What method is this? They didn't even see the appearance of the enemy. The previous leader of the 5-man team said in a deep voice in Bakadan, "It's the human who killed our compatriots. It's definitely him." They were surprised, and the forest group was also surprised. The physique of this black-armored leader exceeds 18 points. Almost twice the human standard. What kind of physique does this have to be? You know, those ordinary Bakadan civilization warriors in the past could tear humans apart with less than 16 points of physical fitness. But Lin Qun's counterattack is still useful. He caused confusion among the Barkadans. He took the opportunity to retreat and quickly moved away, first putting some distance between them. He still has 12 points of energy and can use his skills up to 5 times. But there are 14 Bakadans here. And there is a black-armored leader who cannot be killed by his skills. Cold sweat is flowing down Lin Qun's forehead. What to do? What to do? Behind him, an angry roar sounded. The black-armored leader was not seriously injured. He roared and directly issued an order. The remaining 13 Bakadans searched the entire community and advanced in a line, following the position where Lin Qun just was, and advanced in a line. The dull and terrifying gunshots tore the silence of the community. The survivors hiding in Longcheng Dijing community were all panicked. The same was true for Lin Qun's building No. 5. Everyone was panicked. Because the bodies of the 3 Bakadans were in front of the building, it was obvious that they must be the target here. A group of people began to run to higher floors again. The awakened girl with the talent of clairvoyance issued a warning anxiously. I saw it. I saw it. 14 Bakadans, and 1 leader, who seems to be injured, they all came here. There is another person. Who is he? Wait, why does he look familiar? Her words triggered panic. Fan Wenchuan grabbed Li Xinghei. Brother, I will take people upstairs, I will leave this to you. Li Xinghei was dumbfounded. 14 Bakadans, what a fight. He couldn't beat any of them. No, 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 no. Building leader Fan, you have to help me, you have to organize people to help me. 14, I am definitely not a match for them alone. Fan Wenchuan also gritted his teeth and pushed out the skinny man who had been following him. You go, you find a few people to cooperate with Mr. Li. I'm old, I want to go up and hide. The skinny man's face turned pale. but he also understood that a 1-on-14 victory was not a big deal, and he was looking for people everywhere, but when he turned around, he found that Li Xinghe was gone. The skinny man's expression was dull. He ran away. Li Xinghe naturally ran away. What a joke. Let him fight 14 alone. Isn't this courting death? Run, must run, run quickly. However, when Li Xinghe ran out, he saw a group of 5 Bacadans, and a volley of bullets swept over him. Li Xinghe was immediately shocked. Dead, dead. If Fan Wenquan and others saw the boss they thought was like this, they would probably all run down from the upstairs. But at this critical moment, a hand suddenly stretched out from the shadows on the side and pulled him in. Li Xinghe was startled, and only heard a voice behind him, speaking quickly and coldly, "Do you want to live? I have a way to kill all these Bacadans outside. But I need your cooperation." The man was standing behind him, and Li Xinghe couldn't see who the other person was, but he was startled when he heard the words, and then he was inexplicably relieved. He was sure that this person was definitely the real boss. Is he going to show up? Heavy gunshots echoed. The 14 Bacadans have spread out in full force, sweeping across the entire Longcheng Dijing community. There are 5 of them in the front direction alone. But Li Xinghe turned from fear to excitement at this time. Because the real boss stood up and said he had a solution. "Brother, what to do? How can I cooperate with you? I have the B-level ability Holy Light Summoning. I can assist you. I will add blood and heal you." No one wants to be chased and killed, and Li Xinghe also wants to cooperate with the boss to take revenge. But it's a pity that the big boss behind him said in a calm voice, "No need to add blood, just run out and let them think you killed 3 of them. Help me attract attention. Remember, don't let them find me. Otherwise, if I die, none of us will survive." Li Xinghe's face suddenly fell. This does not require him to cooperate, it is clearly asking him to go out and be cannon fodder. But it's a pity that the big guy behind didn't say any nonsense. After speaking, he pushed him out directly, leaving only the last sentence, "If you want to survive, do as I say." Li Xinghe stumbled out and was thrown out of his mind, but he had no time to think. He didn't even have time to look back at the mysterious boss's face, because the 5 Bacadans had locked onto him and were going crazy. Chase him. He simply gritted his teeth and stamped his feet, regardless of whether the Bacadan people could understand or not, and roared, "I am the one who killed 3 of you. Come and kill me if you have the ability." He shouted tough, but his feet were not idle at all. He greased the soles of his feet and ran wildly. His highest attribute is agility, which is 11 points. At this time, he fully displays it, dancing on the tip of the knife and racing against death. At this time, the skinny man finally brought a group of people out. When he saw the scene in front of him, tears suddenly filled his eyes. He once thought that Li Xinghe had run away, but he didn't expect that this big boss was indeed a big boss. He was so brave and fought out by himself. This Mr. Li is so brave. I just asked him where he was, and he actually came out alone. Come on, let's cooperate with him. The skinny man said they were cooperating, but in fact they didn't have the strength, that is, they just had the firepower to attract these monsters. But, the more chaotic the situation, the more the Bacadan people's attention is attracted, the more he can hide in it and snipe wantonly. Even if the black-armored little boss has a keen sense, it is impossible to distinguish himself in this chaotic situation. This is exactly Lin Qun's plan. Stir up the situation and kill all these Bacadans. At the end of the horizon illuminated by the firelight, a fish belly white color has emerged. This long night seemed to be finally coming to an end. But Lin Qun must end the battle before the sun rises. 14 Bacadans. Either you die or I die. Lin Qun took steps. Start to act. He implemented the spirit of Voldemort and relied on his understanding of his own community to move around crazily in the community. Where to hide? He will hide in garbage dumps, grass, or even trash cans, as long as they are hidden enough. Find a good angle, a locked gaze, a direct headshot with the naked eye. Those Bacadans seemed to be able to understand human language. They identified Li Xinghe as the target and pursued them fiercely. They were completely attracted and had no idea that a sneaky figure was hovering next to them, chasing each other. On the edge of the battlefield, activate skills again and again. Boom, 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 blood splattered. The 3 Bacadans were killed one after another by Lin Qun. Li Xinghe, who originally looked frightened, even shouted excitedly. He was chased by the Bacadans, and he felt resentful in his heart. Seeing the Bacadans getting their heads shot, he was so excited that he felt like he was taking action himself. He also became arrogant. Come on, come on. Take one more step forward and I'll blow your heads off. A volley of bullets was fired at rapid speed. But the Bacadan who fired the gun immediately had his head blown off. The last Bacadan was shocked, retreated in horror, and howled crazily in their channel in Bacadan. This human high-potential individual is too terrifying. We have lost 3 warriors. Captain, we ask for more reinforcements. Staff, we request for more staff. The black-armored captain replied coldly. What does it mean to kill a few low-level warriors? Continue to attract their attention, and we will complete the encirclement. This human being, and the people in this entire community, will become your and my merits and contributions. From a god's perspective, at this moment, it seems that there is only one Bacadan left chasing Li Xinghe, but in fact, the remaining 10 Bacadans have formed a huge encirclement and are about to encircle Li Xinghe. Die. Li Xinghe, who was among them, didn't know yet. As for the skinny man and others, they were very poor in strength and physical fitness. They were already in pieces after being killed, and the skinny man had long since disappeared. But in the corners and shadows, Lin Kuan is ambushing. He is carrying out Voldemort's attributes to the end. His eyes were extremely cold. Kill 4 Bacadans in a row. His energy level dropped to 6 points again. Without hesitation, he took out the energy recovery potion and replenished it to 9 in an instant. At the same time, he also completed the upgrade quickly. His level has directly reached level 3, and he needs 400 experience points to upgrade to level 4. At the same time, all of his attributes have improved. Physique jumped from 9 to 10, and the upper limit of the headshot skill of the headshot girl increased accordingly. Now, he can headshot opponents with 20 points of physique. This is the key link of Lin Kuan's plan. The physique of the black-armored little leader of the Bacadan is too high for him to be an opponent. Then he can upgrade these small monsters first. As the level increases, his physique can also be strengthened. By then, I don't believe that I can't blow the head of the black-armored little leader. Kill one by one. However, at this moment, with the continuous movement, the encirclement of the Bacadans has been formed. Li Xinghe despairingly found that he had nowhere to hide and had no way forward. He was trapped downstairs of building number 9. Surrounded by Bacadans. With dense machine gun fire, he could only hide in the building behind him. The wall bricks were pierced alive. The Bacadans even threw in a weapon that looked like a grenade, which almost blew up the entrance of the building. Li Xinghe, the big boss, was running away with his head in his hands. They were still very cautious. After the encirclement was formed, they continued to advance in an orderly manner. If they entered the building, Li Xinghe would be caught in the trap. There was a trace of cruelty in the pupils of the black-armored little leader. It thought that this high-potential human was dead. However, what frightened these Bacadans was that they had suppressed the human so much that he could not raise his head, but their people were still shot in the head one after another. Li Xinghe in the building was running away, but Lin Kuan outside was already killing like crazy. Every glance was a golden headshot. If you don't have enough energy, just buy energy recovery potions to replenish it. Killing a Bacadan can get 1 contribution point. The potion purchased with 1 contribution point can restore 3 points of energy. Killing 3 will earn 1 point, so it's not a loss. Under level 3, 20 points of physical fitness are still not enough to headshot the black-armored little leader. Not enough. Well, I will continue to kill. These Bacadans never dreamed that Lin Kuan was hiding less than 10 meters behind them and slaughtering them crazily. There was nothing wrong with their tactics, but they had found the wrong target. Blood was splattering, and there were survivors in the buildings on both sides, all lying in front of the windows, watching this scene in fear. They were all shocked. That man is too fierce. What ability does he have? People are blocked in the building, but he is still killing people. How does he aim? This is a super boss. There is such a master in our community. At this time, 7 Bacadans were killed in a row. There were only 3 of the 14 Bacadans left. And Lin Kuan was upgraded again. Reached level 4. All attributes were improved again. The physical fitness reached an inhuman 11 points. This means that he can headshot a target with a physical fitness of 22 points. Lin Kuen's eyes once again moved to the black-armored leader on the other side. The face of the black-armored little Bakadan leader also became a little horrified. He had never seen such a terrifying ability. Obviously, that human had been suppressed by them, but how could he still kill people? No, there must be something wrong here. Observe. The human in the building has been completely suppressed. But their companions are still dying. Perhaps, the person in the building is just a decoy, and the real human who killed them is someone else. The black-armored little leader was startled, and he finally reacted, but it was too late. It turned back like lightning, its eyes moved, turned half a circle, and then met the eyes of the forest behind it. Then, the other two ordinary Bakadan warriors saw in horror that the head of the black-armored little leader beside them exploded without any warning. 22 points of physical fitness. Successful headshot. One look, stared to death. No matter how powerful this black-armored little leader is, he can't reach 22 points of physical fitness. You have killed a high-level target of the alien civilization, and obtained +1 civilizatio contribution point and +100 experience points. The headless body of the black-armored leader was still holding his gun for a moment before falling to the ground. The last two Bakadans were the two remaining members of the original 5-member team. They looked at each other, their eyes revealing deep fear. This fear was completely different from the excitement they had just experienced when they landed and started a crazy massacre. Then, the team leader roared, "Charge in and fight him." As they spoke, they rushed forward frantically, their spider-like lower limbs moving at a very fast speed, and crashed directly into the corridor in front. The two men's desperate actions surprised Lin Kuan. Lin Kuan had just killed the Bakadan leader, and when he turned his eyes back, the two Bakadans had almost disappeared from his sight. They had been advancing just now, and now they were too close to the entrance of the corridor. Lost vision. Lin Kuan's ability could not be activated. He only had time to headshot one, and the last remaining Bakadan still rushed upstairs. With Li Xinghei's ability, he would definitely die if he faced this Bakadan in a narrow corridor. Lin Kuan hesitated for a moment, gritted his teeth and ran out of his hiding place, wanting to rush into the corridor. Regardless of whether it was for himself or not, Li Xinghei cooperated with him, otherwise, he would never have been able to kill 13 Bakadans so easily. He couldn't just sit back and watch Li Xinghei die. But Lin Kuan hadn't gotten close yet. He heard a loud bang from the 3rd floor of the building. Lin Kuan was stunned. He saw that the walls of the corridor on the 3rd floor collapsed. The Bakadan was knocked down from the 3rd floor and fell to the ground. He twitched for a while, as if he was dead, his face and mask were smashed. It seemed that he was beaten to death by a heavy punch. Does Li Xinghei still have this fighting power? Can he kill the Bakadan in seconds? Lin Kuan looked up dumbfounded, but unexpectedly saw a figure. It's her. It was the only beauty with a physique of more than 16 points that he found a few hours ago. At this moment, she was standing on the 3rd floor, a white outfit that outlined her perfect figure, a high ponytail tied behind her back, and a cold and beautiful face, making her feel as if she was born to be a superior. She was pulling up Li Xinghei, who was also sitting on the ground with a confused look on his face, and said, "Sorry, I didn't take action just now, because my ability can only be used in close combat. I can only use it when they come up. You are very powerful, you can kill so many. The average physique of these Bakadan lives is more than 14 points." Li Xinghei's luck was good enough, his agility was high enough, and he dodged quickly enough. It seemed that he didn't lose any limbs, but there were many scratches on his body, and his face was still in shock. And downstairs, Lin Kuan, who was standing alone among the corpses of Bakadan people, and his muttering just now seemed to have attracted her attention. The woman turned her head to look at Lin Kuan and frowned slightly. She seemed to have an impression of Lin Kuan. This girl is probably a master who has awakened advanced melee talent. Li Xinghei seemed to come back to his senses at this time, realizing that everything was over. He turned back instinctively as if in a dream, wanting to see what the big guy looked like. But unfortunately, when he looked over, Lin Kuan had disappeared quietly. Li Xinghei didn't die, and it was enough to be at peace with his conscience. It would not hurt Lin Kuan to let everyone misunderstand that Li Xinghei was a master. Because after the battle just now, he was more determined in his heart. If you want to survive, you have to be Voldemort. You can ambush others and kill them suddenly, never fight head-on. And Lin Kuan was a little regretful that the equipment on these Bacatans seemed to be unusable. There was some kind of technical identification function. Once used by non-Bacatans, it would explode. Those Bacatan guns were too big, and Lin Kuan was not interested, but he was still a little tempted by the armor of the black-armored little leader, but he could only choose to give up. At this time, Li Xinghe came back to his senses and looked at the woman in front of him. He was stunned for a moment and showed a little bit of Chun Ji's look. You. Thank you. I am Li Xinghe. Chu Yue. The woman pulled her hand out calmly. On the other side, Lin Kuan had quickly returned. At this time, the news had spread in the community. People were talking excitedly. Fan Wenchuan ran down again, comforting his skinny follower, and said excitedly, "See, I told you, follow me, we can all survive." But Lin Kuan only glanced at him, walked from the edge of the crowd, and went upstairs. However, he did not notice that there was a pair of eyes in the corner, looking at him without blinking. That was the girl with the clairvoyance skill. She looked at Lin Kuan's back as he hurried upstairs, and a thoughtful color flashed in her eyes. She saw something, but Lin Kuan had returned to his home. At this moment, he still had 6 points of energy left. He still felt that his body was hollowed out. But what made him excited was, he had reached level 4, and his attribute panel had been fully upgraded. Upgraded 2 levels in a row. Name, Lin Kuan. Level, 4 158 hundredths. Strength, 11. Agility, 9. Constitution, 11. Stamina, 6 18ths. Tip, all the above data have a standard value of 10 for ordinary people. Talent, card drawing bonus ability. The current number of card draws remaining, 0. Skill, 1. Bang, skill level. Level 1 within a radius of 10 meters centered on itself. Looking at the target, you can use this skill to destroy any part of the carbon-based living body at a fixed point. The current maximum physical limit of the target that can be directly blasted is 22. When using this skill on enemies whose physical constitution exceeds this value, the effect will be reduced. This time, Lin Kuan could clearly feel the changes in himself. His strength exceeds that of ordinary people and has been significantly enhanced. He couldn't move the bed by himself before, but now he can pry it with one hand. Exceeding the strength of ordinary people, this is no joke. Moreover, although his agility was not at the average level, he tried running around the house and his speed improved significantly. He was excited. As his physical fitness improves, his overall survivability will undoubtedly be greatly improved, and he will no longer be a weakling with no power to restrain himself. The last time he hid behind the flower bed and killed 3 Bacatans, he was out of breath without much exercise, but just now he had been running and hiding, but now he still felt not very tired physically, the fatigue was all mental. Not only that, Lin Kuan discovered that his ranking among the regional theaters had also improved. The use of contribution points will not affect the calculation of rankings. Lin Kuan went back and forth, killing 16 Bacatans in total. Received 16 contribution points. Now, with such a figure, he ranks 4th in the entire Magic City East City. If he can keep this position for 24 hours, he will get 6 contribution points. At this moment, Lin Kuan's eyes turned to look at the column of his total contribution points. Just right, 10 contribution points. He killed 16 Bacatans one after another. He had just spent 6 contribution points to exchange for energy recovery potions, and there were exactly 10 left. Lin Kuan took action at the same time. Always calculating. Try to keep enough contribution points to draw cards. Therefore, he came back with a body that was emptied out, and only had 6 points of energy left. The reason is this opportunity to draw cards. The increase in individual upgrades is limited, but if you can draw good cards, it will greatly improve Lin Kuan's combat capabilities. Lin Kuan took a deep breath. Directly redeemed for a chance to draw a card. Suddenly, the display of his unlimited card drawing ability changed. The number of card draws has become 1. Downstairs, the short-term safety made many people feel reassured, and many people ran out. There were many voices, and some people hugged the bodies of their family members and cried. Li Xinghe became the focus of attention. As for Chu Yue, who seemed to be very powerful, she did not show up. After taking action, she returned to her room. Obviously, she did not want to bring any burden. And the sky in the distance finally gradually brightened. The giant sail battleships that shrouded the sky above the magic city were lined up tightly and were moving westward of the city. It seems that a war is about to break out there. And the Bacadans, who are all in arms, are still landing intensively. A large amount of equipment and personnel are constantly coming from the other side of the world. The situation in the Magic City is about to sink into deeper darkness with the dawn. But at this moment, Lin Qun's attention was entirely on his ability to draw cards. He hopes to be able to draw out another ability. Others can only have one superpower when awakening talents, but he has the blessing of card drawing ability, which is like cheating and can have countless powers. Just thinking about it made Lin Qun a little excited. In order to draw good things, he also used some precious mineral water, washed his hands, and then started the card drawing process. We must produce good things. We must produce good things. Lin Qun muttered something like a mantra and started drawing cards. Soon, a card appeared. The moment he saw clearly what was painted on it, Lin Qun's expression suddenly became strange. It turned out to be this. Chapter 11. Lin Qun's expression became strange. The content of this card is cartoon-like, and the main character in the center is a guy with red and blue overalls and a big nose. No matter from which angle you look at it, it seems to be the plumber Mario who saved the princess. As expected. Name: Mario. Mario Leap Skill Card. Type: Skill Card Inherent. Description: use this skill card to get the jump of the character Mario from Super Mario. Special note: this card is one of the Mario decks. Collect the Mario Jump Skill Card, Mario Strength Skill Card, Mario Speed Skill Card, and Mario Carelessness Card to synthesize the Super Mario Character Card. Obtain all of Mario's abilities and unlock the skill, Cartoon Power. This. Lin Qun immediately thought of the way Mario jumped around in Super Mario, but when he saw the back, his eyes lit up. There are actually sets of cards and decks. After synthesis, not only can all of Mario's abilities be unlocked, but he can also get Cartoon Power. This is Mario's extremely special ability. His Cartoon Power can break the dimensional wall. This, can't I go to the second dimension to hug my wife? Lin Qun was a little excited. He wanted to draw 100 more times and draw all the Mario cards in the deck. However, this time the card type is still a skill card. I wonder if there are other categories. He immediately chose to load the ability, and the card disappeared quickly. Then, Lin Qun's personal panel immediately added another row of descriptions below the original Headshot Girl skill. Skills. 1. Bang. Skill level. Level 1 within a radius of 10 meters centered on the self. Look at the target, and use this skill to destroy any part of the carbon-based life body. The current upper limit of the target's physical fitness that can be directly blasted. 22. When using this skill on an enemy with a physical fitness exceeding this value, the effect will decrease. 2. Mario Leap Skill Card. Skill Level. Level 1. You can use the force to jump in any state, and even violate certain physical laws. You can jump up to a height of 4 times your height. The number of times this skill can be used is limited only by physical fitness. This means that as long as Lin Qun is physically able, he can jump infinitely. His height is nearly 1.8 meters, and with 4 times the height, the highest jump that can be made is more than 7 meters. The height of 2 floors. This is simply a life-saving skill. I can't run on the road, I can just jump away. Moreover, this skill can also be upgraded. What bonuses can be obtained after upgrading? Can I jump a higher multiple? Or, can I achieve a double jump in the air? Thinking of this, Lin Qun was a little excited. He was eager to try it, and was ready to try it in the house. The height of his small house is 2.8 meters. It can't reach 7 meters, but he doesn't have to jump 7 meters at once. Just try it. Lin Qun activated the skill and gently pushed the ground with 1 foot. There was a bang and a scream. Lin Qun fell to the ground. Stars in his eyes. He had already jumped very lightly, but he still didn't control it well, and hit his head on the ceiling, dizzy. But a look of joy appeared on his face. The use of this skill still needs practice, but it is always good. With this skill combined with the skill of the Headshot Girl, he can even achieve aerial sniping and high-speed retreat. After a set of combos, others may not even see his shadow. The old fool among the old fools. Lin Kuan made up his mind to become the first person to grow in a wretched way. However, he was also a little curious about how many contribution points were needed to upgrade this skill. Lin Kuan sat on the ground and didn't rush to get up, so he checked it immediately. It was found that Mario only needed 50 contribution points to upgrade this skill. It was half of the skill of upgrading the headshot girl. Lin Kuan's eyes flashed with expectation. Maybe he will be able to achieve a double jump in the air soon. Although he was excited, Lin Kuan also understood the current situation. He gained some abilities and quickly stood up to observe the outside on the 7th floor. The sky was bright. Last night, the battle between the military and the main force of the Bacadans took place at the far end of the city. Those giant sailboats were all there, but they were not defeated. The huge fleet was rising from the end of the field of vision, bathing in the sun, revealing a kind of sacred beauty of Doomsday. In the daytime, the cracks in the sky became less clear, but there were still batches of Bacadans who entered the blue star through the cracks on various strange aircraft, flying around the magic city, and even a few flew over the head of Longcheng Dijing community. They may have other tasks, or from the air, the human corpses and blood flowing everywhere in Longcheng Dijing community seemed to have been slaughtered, so they flew by at high speed, without paying too much attention and searching, and did not land, whizzing past, and disappeared in the sky in the blink of an eye. At this moment, most people in Longcheng Dijing community hid in the buildings, not daring to show their heads. They were all terrified, but they did not dare to leave either. No one knew what was happening outside. In the community, at least there were masters. Li Xinghe, who had killed more than a dozen Bacadans, had become a star figure in the entire community. He was personally taken back to building number 5 by Fan Wenchuan and his men, and was provided with good food and drink. The woman named Chu Yue was also fawned over by many people. Unfortunately, she seemed to be an indifferent person and wouldn't even open the door. And far and near in the city, there were intensive gunshots and explosions. Thick smoke was billowing as far as the eye could see, and a 50-story high-rise building in the distance that Lin Kuan could see was broken in half. I don't know if it was an illusion, but there was a Bacadan flying high in the sky without any technological equipment. They also have incredible top-level warriors. The once prosperous demon city has turned into a terrifying battlefield. The eerie tranquility of Longcheng Dijing community at this moment is like an isolated island, forgotten by the world. The main force of the Bacadans is suspected to be fighting with the military, fighting for control of the main city. The two teams here were wiped out, and there were only a dozen Bacadans. There were no prominent figures, and they could not alarm them. And the federal military has been nowhere to be found. Longcheng Dijing community fell into a strange moment of tranquility. But this is a good thing for Lin Kuan. He needs some time to correct himself and regain his energy. He heard a faint noise in the building. There appear to be survivors looking for homes to live in. Li Xinghe is in charge of building number 5, and building number 5 has become a good place that everyone flocks to. Everyone crowded here, as if being closer to Li Xinghe would make them safer. Looking for an empty house, more than a dozen people crowded in. I don't care at all. Lin Kuan took a look through the peephole, locked the security door, and entered the bedroom, ready to sleep. This was the best and quickest way he could think of to regain his energy. For humans, sleep is the best rest. Lin Kuan was indeed a little tired. He lay on the bed and fell asleep in a short while. Until I was awakened by a gentle knock on the door. Someone's coming to the door. Standing outside the door was a woman with a hot figure, wearing fishnet stockings that outlined her slender legs. Her upper body was in a sleeveless dress. It could be seen that although her figure was slender and bumpy, she was also muscular. She has short hair, a capable temperament and a unique wildness. Lin Kuan recognized her and said stiffly, "I know you, you have clairvoyance skills. Why are you looking for me? I don't welcome others to stay here." Lin Kuan has determined to become a peerless Voldemort, but he has no plans to do anything stupid like taking his sister off. He didn't sleep for long. It seemed that only more than 3 hours had passed. His energy level is now 16/18. Almost recovered. Hello, my name is Zhao Wen. My ability is not that powerful. Although it is called clairvoyance, the level is very low now. I can only see things within a range of 60 meters, and only within a range of 3 square meters. However, my ability can only be seen within a day at most. Can be used continuously for 10 minutes. Zhao Wen introduced her abilities openly. She looked at Lin Qun with some inquiry and curiosity in her eyes. I have nothing to do with you. I just want to chat with you. I think you are very brave. The Bakadan people are here today. You were also out there helping out, weren't you? This skill is a voyeuristic skill. Lin Qun was a little emotional. Zhao Wen's eyes were fixed on Lin Qun. Of course her purpose of coming was not as simple as she said. She had a feeling that this man was not simple. She felt that maybe the person in front of her was the real super boss. As a nightclub DJ, Zhao Wen has seen all kinds of men despite her young age. She even likes to take the initiative to conquer some men who look powerful or tease those who are very shy, so she has developed a keen intuition and judgment. Before she discovered the Bakadans, this man was already outside. When Li Xinghe was suppressed by the Bakadans in Building 9, he was on the edge of obscurity the whole time. Others may not know the specific details of what happened at that time, but she has been observing with her clairvoyance, and can even directly see the state of Li Xinghe, who was hiding in the building at that time. It can be said that the entire Longcheng Dijing community knows best what happened a few hours ago. What kind of person? Therefore, she also saw how embarrassed Li Xinghe was. She couldn't help but have deep doubts. In that state, could Li Xinghe really kill those Bakadans in an orderly manner? From this perspective, Lin Qun, who seemed to have been calmly obsessing on the edge, looked more like the person who really killed all the Bakadans. Her curiosity was piqued, seeing that Lin Qun had no intention of letting her in. She smiled slightly, as if it was a hot day, and tugged on her collar. The first button was not fastened, so she opened it immediately. Her slender neck, beautiful collarbones, and the looming mountains and ravines matched her. The extremely aggressive and probing gaze and temperament make people have the urge to conquer her mountains. She tilted her head and smiled. I think we can have a pleasant chat. Are you, a grown man, feeling incompetent? This trick worked for her time and time again. No one can resist her. However, today she was going to be disappointed. Because Lin Qun only glanced down at her and said something that made her very dumbfounded. Sorry, I'm afraid it will affect my energy. Then, with a bang, the door was closed. She was rejected directly. Only then did Lin Qun exhale. To say that I am not moved is not true. Lin Qun is also a young boy who has never had much contact with girls. How can he stand up to him? But based on the fact that this woman came to the house voluntarily and had clairvoyance skills, Lin Qun judged that she might have guessed about her abilities and came with a purpose. He would not be blinded by lust. Not to mention, his reasons are true. His energy now is very precious, every bit of energy is like a bullet. After 3 hours of sleep, he finally recovered to 16 o'clock, but his recovery was about to slow down. Lin Qun didn't want to shoot from below because he couldn't shoot from above. There is no danger in these 3 hours. Who knows if there will be danger next? All his contribution points have been spent, but there are no contribution points to exchange for energy recovery potions. If he is short of money, wouldn't he be dumbfounded? Don't waste your energy indiscriminately. However, this Zhao Wen's ability is quite good. If she can cooperate with herself, maybe. But Lin Qun quickly shook his head and put an end to this idea. He didn't know who the other party was. In this situation, if he rashly cooperated with a stranger, it would be better to be more careful by himself. Anyway, he has the strength. In this case, the risk of going alone is no higher than blindly joining a group. Homogeneous people are sometimes scarier than aliens. And outside the door, looking at the closed door. Zhao Wen was dumbfounded. It wasn't that she had never been rejected before, but she had never been rejected like this. Her little cherry mouth was half opened, her expression was a little dull, and there was a hint of suspicion in her eyes. Is this true or false? Are you still afraid that I will give you a break? Can he really be the strong one? Did you guess wrong? In fact, Zhao Wen didn't really want to devote herself to it. She wanted to test more. If this Lin Qun is really strong, then that's it. If not, she is sure to escape unscathed. She knows how to mediate with men very well. But Lin Qun's reaction made her feel more curious and exploring. She must find out what secret this man has. Thinking about it, she took steps and walked downstairs. Now, the location of Building 5 is very popular, and there are people living in the corridor. Zhao Wen is beautiful and has a hot figure, so some people cast her eyes covetously. Zhao Wen glanced at it and gently opened the corner of her clothes at the waist, revealing a fruit knife and a swing stick she had pinned behind her back. That gaze quickly disappeared. Zhao Wen snorted coldly. He walked away with his long legs. Zhao Wen left, and Lin Qun also returned to his room. The sound of gunfire from the far end of the city never stopped, and the network was still disconnected. Lin Qun discovered that after 3 hours, his ranking had only dropped 1 place, from 4th to 5th. It is daytime now, and the Bacadans are coming continuously. Their numbers have reached terrifying levels and they are intensively active outside. On the contrary, human activities have been compressed. Except for the military, most people are hiding, especially those who have the strength to kill the Bacadans. The Khitan people all stood still and their rankings remained unchanged. The biggest change in this regional ranking is the person named Sha Qing is no longer number 1. The first one became Qi Zichuan, the 6th Armored Division of the Magic City Theater. His contribution is 103. He killed more than 100 Bacadans. Sha Qing, who is second, only has 29 contribution points now, which is a full 80 heads behind. Lin Qun's eyes flashed. I found many similar names. The 6th Armored Division of the Magic City Theater. The 2nd Air Force Formation of the Magic City Theater. Behind these IDs, at least one has a contribution point. At this moment, from the 20-something to the 30-something, there is no longer 0, but at least 1 contribution point. Military soldiers have begun to register IDs. Information is blocked, the network is interrupted, and the whole city has fallen. They are using this method to tell everyone in the Magic City. They are fighting, they are resisting. They will fight to the death with the Bacadans to the end. Even Lin Qun felt an indescribable sense of stability and strength as he looked at these prefixes one after another. No one is an island. There are people fighting desperately for their survival. The liver and brain are ruined, regardless of life or death. Those distant sounds of gunfire. This moment seems not so far away. Lin Qun took a deep breath. He plans to recover and observe for a while before taking the initiative to hunt down the Bacadans. Get more contribution points. Lin Qun chose to set off at dusk. Heavy clouds are gathering over the Magic City, huge space cracks are looming, and even the giant sailboat carrying the Bacadan people has become hazy. The war lasted for a whole day, and their confrontation with the main force of the Demon City seemed to be shifting from fierce confrontation to the next stage. The main force of the Bacadans was converging to the west of the central city. This is a good thing for Lin Qun. That was the direction away from the east city where he was. But the city is filled with Bacadans. During the day, there were also clamoring Bacadan people plundering through the Longcheng Dijing community. However, the number of Bacadans entering through the cracks has begun to decrease. At this stage, the Bacadans who have passed through the space cracks are no longer scattered in all directions, but are densely gathering towards the main Bacadans in the XC area. Their armies and main forces are gathering, but there are also a lot of Bacadan people wandering around the city. Most of them are Bacadan desperados who are under the control of all the people. But this is a good thing for Lin Qun. In such a large-scale battle, the death of a dozen Bacadans on the edge of the battlefield is simply not enough to attract the attention of top Bacadans and avoid more possible blows. Lin Qun couldn't see the specific situation there, but he also felt that a war might break out at that location. It was a day of near misses. In Building No. 5, Li Xinghe stayed behind closed doors while the survivors dispersed. All kinds of news were flying all over the sky. Lin Qun listened for a while when they went downstairs to hunt the Bacadans, and they also gained something. A middle-aged man who was said to have worked for the Federal National Security Agency analyzed conclusively, this is an early landing. The countdown in our eyes now has more than 10 hours left. Logically speaking, there are only our Magic City is under attack, and reinforcements from the surrounding troops should have arrived long ago. Even without reinforcements, a saturation strike, no matter how large the air force of the Bacadans is, it will be enough for them to drink a pot, and the army should have been spread throughout the city earlier. The situation is still so deadlocked now. I speculate that the army can't get in. Do you still remember the area blockade that the Bakadan civilization said before the early landing? I'm afraid our place has been designated as a regional battlefield. Reinforcements from outside can't come in, and we can't get out either. This statement caused a commotion. How many of the survivors standing here asking for help are so powerful? They are all panic-stricken ordinary people. After hearing these analyses, they become even more panicked. Then what should I do? I don't have much food at home. Is there any rescue? We only have a few garrison troops in this magical city, but they have an entire civilization. Don't panic, everyone. Individually, the Bakadans are better than us, but their technology is obviously not much different. Looking at our rankings, we can see that so many of our soldiers are fighting hard and killing the Bakadans. Chi Zichuan ranks first. Didn't we all contribute more than 200 points? We can win. Everyone was talking about it, some were fearful, some were inexplicably confident, and some were making private deals. Lin Qun saw it. A man grabbed a young mother who was hiding in a corner holding her child, handed out a bag of chocolates, and swept his eyes over the young mother's beautiful figure. The young mother came from another building. She didn't have any belongings, and her milk seemed to be gone. She was already starving, and her child couldn't stop crying. Looking at the bag of chocolates, she was silent for a long time before nodding silently. She didn't dare to leave the building with her children and go out to look for things. At this moment, there are many similar situations in this building. Many people hid from other buildings. Although Fan Wenchuan didn't care about these people taking root in the unoccupied rooms and corridors of Building 5, he no longer accepted new people and only gathered those around him. He tightly controls Li Xinghei's big boss resources. They are the most nourishing group of people here. If others want to be directly protected by Li Xinghei, they need to pay a large amount of materials or have special and useful abilities. Fan Wenchuan and his team are like the little overlords of this building, with a very obvious gap between them and others. Those ordinary survivors dreamed of becoming one of their group, but they could not join and could only watch with envy and jealousy. Lin Qun watched with cold eyes and slowly left Building 5. Although he didn't have many supplies at home, it was enough for at least half a month, and he had the ability to protect himself. The worries of these survivors were not a problem at all to him. Fan Wenchuan's team, which gradually changed its tone, was of no use to Lin Qun. Because he is the big boss. Do you still need to join you? Most people were hiding in their homes and buildings, afraid to come out, but Lin Qun took the initiative to go out and hunt the Bakadans. His energy has long been restored. Reached 18 points. Dusk is approaching, the clouds are overcast, and the sky and earth are dark. This is the best time to hunt. To be cautious, Lin Qun waited until now before setting off. Although his current physique and various attributes have been greatly improved, they are only just above ordinary people. He does not want to face the Bakadan people head-on. In Lin Qun's view, regardless of whether the enemy can be defeated head-on, stabbing him in the back is obviously better than the former. Because the risk of backstabbing is minimal. Caution is the boat. However, during this day, Lin Qun's ranking dropped again, to 7th. For this, he had to take the initiative to attack and keep the 4th place. The first ranking will be settled in the early morning of today. As long as he can keep the high ranking before that, he can get extra contribution points. Lin Qun's eyes flickered. This was his goal. It was a little quiet in Longcheng Dijing community. There were corpses lying all over the ground. The closed community that was once beautiful had already turned into hell. Some of them had begun to smell, mixed with the smell of blood, and it was pungent. Lin Qun moved forward along the shadows between the buildings. He saw some shadowy figures moving cautiously between the buildings. At this time, everyone had their own goals. But they all seemed to be looking for someone or something. No one dared to leave the building too far, and few dared to leave the community. Only Lin Qun was an exception. He moved forward step by step. There were no Bakadans in Longcheng Dijing community, so he moved slowly outside the community. Building number 5 was left behind. His community was not small. It would take at least 7 or 8 minutes to walk from building number 5 to the entrance of the building. As soon as he got closer, Lin Qun heard a sound coming from the supermarket at the entrance of the community in front. That supermarket was opposite the supermarket where Lin Qun first shopped. They didn't sell supplies and kept the door closed. There should be something inside. Therefore, he instinctively judged that someone was looting supplies in the supermarket, and he approached and carefully observed and found out. That was a group of survivors trapped in the supermarket. 2 Bacadans who were obviously not Bacadan soldiers, wearing homemade cyber-colored painted armor, were holding weapons, standing at the door of a burning supermarket, teasing and slaughtering the survivors inside. The shelves in the supermarket collapsed, and a large amount of supplies turned to ashes in the raging fire. The dozen or so survivors inside seemed to have come to collect supplies, but at this moment they fled frantically in panic, screaming and fleeing. The 2 Bacadans behind them were not in a hurry, holding Bacadan weapons that looked like shotguns in their hands, and shot one by one. When they thought they could run away, they died alive. A scream. Behind the panicked survivors, a young girl fell down. Her pretty face was twisted in fear. She looked at the approaching Bacadans and screamed loudly. At this moment, another person ran out from the running survivors. Lin Kun actually knew that person. It was the black-hearted boss who sold the high-priced supplies before. This seemed to be a punishment from God. He sold all the supplies, but the doomsday really came. All the money became waste paper, and he had to run out to find supplies. And the girl who fell down seemed to be his daughter. He rushed to her desperately and wanted to take her away. At this moment, the Bacadan in front was infinitely close to them, but he did not shoot, deliberately creating a terrifying atmosphere and approaching step by step. "Daughter, go, let's run." However, at this moment, the daughter he desperately saved instinctively raised her hand and pushed her father, pushing him towards the monster, while he ran back desperately. This was the most tragic and instinctive choice. Her father ran back to save her. She ruthlessly pushed her father out as a shield and fled without looking back. The small supermarket was a scene of hell. More than a dozen survivors scrambled to flee. Some even ran into the fire and ran away screaming. Neither the boss nor his daughter escaped. They had no chance to escape at all. The 2 Bacadans had already taken control of the situation and were just playing around, giving these people the illusion that they could escape. What they enjoyed was the feeling of these humans feeling hopeful but watching their hope shattered. Therefore, for this father and daughter, they killed the daughter first. The Bacadan raised the muzzle of his gun and shot the half-body of the daughter who abandoned her father. The remaining lower body gushed blood plasma, shook, and fell to the ground. Then it lowered its head, admired the twisted face of the boss under its feet, and slowly raised the muzzle of its gun. The boss looked confused, sad, dull and twisted. He seemed to have never expected that he would be pushed out by his own daughter. At this time, he had forgotten to struggle. But he did not die. Because it was not his head that was blown up, but the head of the Bacadan. Lin Kun was already 10 meters away. He did not watch the boss being shot by the Bacadan. Maybe he was a black-hearted boss who only cared about money, and in the end he made things worse and was dumbfounded, but if it weren't for him, they might not be able to buy the last batch of supplies. He can only be said to be a pathetic guy. The Bacadan was dead, but the black-hearted boss seemed to have forgotten to escape, lying on the ground, motionless, like a lost soul. The other Bacadan was obviously shocked to see his companion being killed, and he instinctively retreated and hid immediately. Lin Kun instantly lost his target. And Lin Kun was also moving quickly and changing angles. The enemy was in the light, and we were in the dark, which was his biggest advantage. While hiding, the Bacadan was also frantically looking for Lin Kun's figure, extending the muzzle from behind the bunker and firing wildly. But the next moment, his hand holding the gun exploded with a bang. A shrill scream came from behind the bunker. The survivors were all stunned and showed ecstasy. Lin Kun was elusive, advancing from another direction, staring at him and shooting him in the head. The Bacadan was hiding behind the bunker, calling something with some kind of communication equipment. He was terrified and had no defense at all, and died instantly. It was not a regular Bacadan army. 2 contribution points were credited. There were also 100 experience points. Lin Kun's eyes flashed. His regional ranking rose and returned to 6th place. On the regional war zone rankings, the gap from 4th to 10th was not big, only a few contribution points. Behind, the survivors were all gathering here. Lin Kun thought about it, picked up a Zubaji mask from the ground and put it on his face. He didn't want others to know his true appearance. Since he wanted to survive, he had to survive to the end. The supermarket was almost reduced to ruins, and the supplies were boiling in the sea of fire, all wasted. The survivors were very surprised and gathered around. Some expressed their gratitude to Lin Kuan, while others wanted to be protected by him. An old lady was holding a half-body corpse, crying with tears streaming down her face. "They killed my son, my child, thank you, you must live and help me kill more monsters." She trembled and took out a few bags of almost broken instant noodles from her arms and gave them all to Lin Kuan. Lin Kuan whispered, "I can't protect you. No, child, you are the most powerful person I have ever seen. You take these things. My son is dead, my wife is dead, and I don't want to live anymore. These are the only things I have, and the keys to my house. I give them all to you. You can use them all. Kill them all, kill them all." Listening to the old man's words, Lin Kuan was silent. He actually thought that she was going to rely on him. He felt a pathetic shame in his heart. He pushed the old man's hand back. "You keep it. You live and watch me kill those monsters." He felt an indescribable feeling in his heart. He didn't know what to say, so he just said this. But at this moment, he suddenly heard a piercing roar behind him. He turned his head and saw it in his soul. Behind them, at the corner of the street outside the community, a shabby open-top airship with exaggerated colors turned out, flying at a low altitude of more than 10 meters above the ground. 4 Bacadans were sitting on it, howling wildly and rushing towards this side. The shape of that thing is similar to that of the Blue Star water speedboat, but with a rear rocket thruster, it can turn rapidly in the air and propel at high speed. It even has a 20mm caliber machine gun, which fires wildly. Outside the Longcheng-Dijing community, the streets have long been blocked by scrapped vehicles. It seems that there has been a big chaos here. People from the surrounding communities have tried to drive out, but they are all stuck here. The scrapped vehicles are shot one after another. Some vehicles exploded and a huge flame rose. It's the companions of the 2 Bacadans. The survivors on the ground once again scattered like birds and beasts, panicked, and all ran away. The old woman did not run. She squatted down and hugged the body of her child, who only had half of his body left, with her old body. She didn't want to run anymore. Lin Kuan was also scared and turned around and ran in the opposite direction of the old man. He couldn't help the old woman, and he didn't know whether to let her live or die. At least, don't let her become a target. In Lin Kuan's opinion, with so many people running together, and he didn't write on his face that he killed 2 Bacadans, the possibility of him being chased by the airship should be less than 1 in 10. But what surprised him was that the airship somehow locked onto him and chased him directly behind the survivors who were fleeing for their lives. What the hell is this? Lin Kuan was dumbfounded. At this time, he actually saw that the airship was shaking and shooting a topsy-turvy missile, heading straight for him. Lin Kuan's urban area is far away from the core battlefield of the Magic City. Now those who are active here are either trash or basically Bacadan armed civilians. Their levels are uneven, mainly modifying equipment and exchanging weapons. They are far from representing the level of Bacadan regular army, but the firepower of such a garbage airship is also very dangerous to Lin Kuan now. Lin Kuan did not hesitate and immediately activated Mario's skills, jumping out in a parabola, jumping out more than 10 meters in one breath. Directly jumped from the gate of the community to the street outside the community. Turning his head, he saw that the gate of Longcheng-Dijing community behind him was blown up. And behind him, the group of Bacadans howled wildly, the rocket airship rushed forward at high speed, and the machine guns were shooting all over the ground. How could Lin Kuan withstand such firepower? Before the distance of 10 meters was shortened, he could be killed directly. The community could not be returned. Lin Kuan ran wildly on the street and jumped wildly. This time he experienced the feeling of Li Xinghe, who was chased up and down, like a stray dog being driven away. If he was a step slower, he would be shot on the spot. There was no way. They were airships and came too fast. Even if Lin Kuan had just killed 2 Bacadans and turned around and left without wasting half a minute, they could still catch up. Once bitten to death, he could not get rid of it at all. On the airship behind, the Bacadans howled fiercely. That's him. The detector we exchanged shows that he just got contribution points. Kill this human. He killed our companions. Don't rush to kill him in one go. Shoot his legs. I will break his legs first, then crush his bones piece by piece, and let him die in extreme pain. Why did they move suddenly? A few minutes ago, 2 streets away from Longcheng Dijing community. A squad of military troops is ambushing here, guarding this group of Bacadans driving an airship. Their anti-tank guns were at the ready, waiting for the right opportunity to fire. But at this moment, the Bacadan airship suddenly accelerated. They howled like barbarians and flew away quickly. The squad leader of this class, a man with a Chinese character, Zhang Bin, stood up abruptly, gritted his teeth, and looked unwilling. Deputy Monitor Wang Desheng whispered, "Squad Monitor, what should we do now?" "Get in the car and chase. This group of Bacadan armed men has an airship, which is a huge danger to the survivors and brother troops in the surrounding areas. Now that we have discovered them, we must keep an eye on them. They must be shot down today." Zhang Bin issued the order in a deep voice. Wang Desheng said in a low voice, "But, squad leader, it's okay that we just made a sneak attack. If we were to pursue them openly, once they were discovered by that group of Bacadans, with the number of people we observed and the firepower of the airship, we would have a head-on confrontation. I'm afraid." Quote. Zhang Bin glanced behind him when he heard this. Their classes are no longer fully organized. Now there are only 9 people left. Although there are conventional weapons, there is not much heavy firepower left. In terms of vehicles, there was only one conventional military off-road vehicle equipped with a 12.7 mm caliber machine gun, and the remaining vehicle was a temporarily found civilian commercial vehicle. "Send a request for help message to nearby troops," Zhang Bin said. "Let's slow down first, don't expose ourselves, and see what they are going to do. If they threaten the lives of civilians, we must stop them no matter what." Wang Desheng looked worried. It is very possible that these Bacadans are looking for civilians to kill to gain contribution points. They suddenly acted and left in a hurry. It is possible that they discovered innocent survivors. On the other side, Lin Kun was jumping up and down being chased by the Bacadan airship. It's very embarrassing, but fortunately, Mario's jumping skills can violate certain physical laws. In one vertical jump, he can jump up to 10 meters away, far and near, and repeatedly jump horizontally. He can't figure out the rules. The Bacadan people need constantly adjusting the muzzle of the gun, kept Lin Kun in a state of, "Death is always one step behind me." Those Bacadans actually had some kind of translation device, shouting behind them in blunt human language. "An inferior species, why do you only know how to run? Has your mother only taught you how to run away from a dog since you were a child?" Being chased and shot at and scolded like this, Lin Kun was furious and wanted to turn around and fight with these Bacadans. But he knew that impulsiveness was not a wise move. He was being pressed down and beaten. From his position, he could barely see the Bacadans on the airship, which was above 10 meters high. How could he fight back? His mind was racing. His flesh and blood body is a disadvantage, and his abilities are also biased toward covert sneak attacks. This is also the reason why he has been hiding himself and choosing obscene tactics. But he also understands, even if he doesn't encounter such a situation today, he will encounter it sooner or later. A head-on confrontation with the Bacadans is a must. Lin Kun was hiding in a street corner on one side. Under the powerful firepower, the wall behind him was penetrated and cracked, and the broken masonry structure shot like blades, grazing his clothes and skin. If it weren't for Mario's jumping ability, which allowed him to quickly cross large distances again and again, he would have been shot to death long ago. But at this moment, he suddenly stopped in the alley. He thought of a way to fight. Extremely risky, but maybe doable. No, now I have no other choice. If I continue to be chased like this, even if I have Mario's abilities, I will eventually run out of energy and be shot alive. While you still have enough physical energy, give it a try. Lin Kun is an action person. He does whatever comes to his mind. He becomes furious and turns around immediately. He raised his head and saw a frightened human eye in the building on one side, looking at him being chased by the Bacadans. There are survivors on both streets, but no one dares to come forward. Anyone who steps forward will be targeted and will die. A 20mm machine gun can kill a person with one shot. The deafening roar quickly approached. The airship was quickly coming around the corner. The 4 Bacadans above were extremely excited and arrogant. They were not regular Bacadan troops, and they enjoyed the pleasure of the massacre. This kind of hunting made their blood boil. But as soon as they turned around, they were all slightly startled. Because the target didn't run away, but stood there at this moment, turned around, and faced them. Then the next moment, Mario's skills are activated. Lin Kuan jumped high, reaching a jumping height that was impossible for humans, and rushed towards the Bakadan airship in a parabola. The countermeasure he thought of was very simple: shooting from the air. From low to high, he could barely see the 4 Bakadans on the airship, so he couldn't use the headshot skill to snipe these Bakadans. In addition, he kept moving with his back to the opponent while running. He just only then was he passively being beaten, unable to fight back. But he can match Mario's jumps. The ultimate jump distance is 7.2 meters. If he jumps face to face with the Bakadan airship, he will be able to see the opponent's body in the airship. Then, move, snipe, while jumping. Just like playing a shooting game, he jumped in the air and sniped, but he jumped very high, and the sniper he sniped was his sight. He didn't seek to kill or be very accurate, he just shot whatever he saw. The skill of the headshot girl is not just a simple headshot. As far as the naked eye can see, carbon-based creatures can be shot wherever they want, but headshots are the most energy-saving and safe. The opponent is also flesh and blood. With the ability of his headshot girl skill, any shot will cause a lot of injuries to these Bakadans. When Lin Kuan drew this skill card, he thought about the idea of Mario moving and sniping with high mobility under the headshot girl skill. He hadn't practiced it privately, but now he put it into actual combat. And just running all the way, he probably also understood the performance of this airship. It looks exaggerated, but in fact the highest flying altitude is only about 11 or 12 meters. It can't be too fast in the city group. Relying on the super high jump height of jumping ability, there is a chance. Lin Kuan's first attempt was successful. He leapt up and passed by the front of the airship and jumped behind them. During the high altitude jump, he glanced and instantly activated his ability, directly blasting the hand of the first Bakadan who was holding a gun at him. Seeing that Lin Kuan did not run away but rushed towards them, the Bakadans thought that Lin Kuan was desperate. The first Bakadan raised his gun and shot Lin Kuan to death, but he did not expect that he could not feel his arm before he fired. Blood splashed and screamed. These Bakadans were all shocked. They did not expect that this human had the ability to fight back. But they were also murderers. They forced the airship to turn around at the first time and continued to chase and attack. The remaining few Bakadans turned their guns and chased Lin Kuan and fired wildly. And Lin Kuan had passed through the air and fell to another direction in an unscientific parabola. He did not have the ability to float or double jump. He passed by, and, a glimpse, activated a skill, and he would fall to the ground according to inertia. But this success gave him hope, the hope of killing these Bakadans. This trick of sniping in the air works. Lin Kuan succeeded in sniping in the air once and immediately tried a second time. He simply stopped running this time and just jumped around the airship on the ground. At the same time, he activates his abilities crazily. Although the airship's cannon has an astonishing caliber, it is located below the airship and can fire at the ground. However, as soon as Lin Kuan jumps up, it will be difficult to track it, which creates an opportunity for Lin Kuan. Of course, Lin Kuan was moving parabola high in midair, and the airship's cannon couldn't keep up with him. But for those Bakadans, if the Lin group uses Mario's ability to jump far away, they may not be able to keep up, but if they jump directly towards them, they are living targets. If they raise their guns, they will have taking the opportunity to aim at the oncoming forest group is as simple as sitting back and waiting. This was also the reason why the forest group suddenly rushed towards them before, and they once thought that the forest group was seeking death. It was also because of this that the risk was too high before, so Lin Kuan never dared to try it, so he was forced to take the risk here. But after trying it for the first time, Lin Kuan found that his previous worries were completely unnecessary. He had a way to solve this problem so that the Bakadans could not fire on him in time when he was in the air and could not be avoided. That is to use more powerful firepower to suppress. Offense as the best defense. No matter how fast the Bakadans' guns were, they were not as fast as Lin Kuan's gaze. They had just turned their guns, and Lin Kuan's eyes had already fallen on their gun-holding arms. Before they could pull the trigger, a terrifying blood hole had already exploded in their gun-holding hand or body. You can't kill them instantly with a headshot, but you can blow them to pieces. They no longer have the ability to fire at the forest groups that cannot be avoided in the air. Sure enough, only practice can tell whether it is feasible. Flying over again and again, trying again and again. At first, Lin Kuan was more evasive, because his flesh and blood body could not withstand even a bullet. But as he became more proficient, he made progress step by step, gradually switching from defense to offense, turning into a trapeze artist. In the fight, crazy, snipers shooting in the air. Moving at high speed, it was difficult for Lin Kuan to aim, but he exploded whatever he saw. After a few jumps, he killed 2 of the 4 Bacadans alive. The accuracy has gradually improved. When he jumped again, they had no idea what method Lin Kuan used to detonate their bodies, and they dared to shoot at them, desperately trying to avoid them. They almost collapsed. What ability is this? Where is he? Hit him quickly. Ah, my leg was blown off. He struck too fast. He's jumping around, he's so flexible, so flexible. Run, run quickly. So, after a short period of entanglement and strangulation, the situation took a jaw-dropping turn. These 4 Bacadans were so heartbroken that they turned around and ran away in an airship. Lin Kuan, on the other hand, made a parabolic extreme leap from behind. Using the height of the scrapped vehicle on the ground, he could jump up to 8 or 9 meters. The 4 Bacadan armed men turned around and ran away in the airship. Lin Kuan drank a bottle of energy recovery potion that he had just redeemed. Chasing after him. I want to make you sick while you are sick. The bridge has been drawn. Who knows whether these Bacadans will bring in reinforcements. Lin Kuan wants to kill them all here. At this time, Zhang Bin and his people were approaching quickly. When they heard the gunshots and shouts here, they thought for a while that the Bacadans were exchanging fire with their own people, and rushed over anxiously for reinforcements. Unexpectedly, they saw a shocking scene. A man wearing a Zubaji toy mask was jumping wildly on the street like a flea, chasing the target airship they had followed carefully before in a funny but unconscious manner. It's funny because Lin Kuan's jumping posture violates the laws of physics, and it feels like an anime character invading reality. Unknown to him, he was the one who was chasing the Bacadans brutally on an airship and fled, crying for their fathers and mothers. Wang Desheng rubbed his eyes. Am I right? There is Zubaji, an airship flying in the sky to chase down the Bacadan people. You read that right, that man didn't even have a gun in his hand. How could he kill these Bacadans and flee? Zhang Bin was also taken aback and said in a deep voice, "This man, they are not our people, they are civilians. Do civilians have such masters?" Quote. From this angle, they couldn't see the high places, they could only see the forest group jumping wildly on the ground. The Bacadan airship flew by at a height of more than 10 meters, the limit of its flight. From their angle, they could not see the blood of the Bacadan people that exploded in the airship as Lin Kuan jumped again and again. They just find it incredible. Even more incomprehensible. How could he kill that group of Bacadan thugs like this just by jumping around? You know, Zhang Bin and the others have discovered this group of Bacadan thugs for a while and have been following them. Knowing that they are strong, they have been cautiously looking for opportunities and calling for reinforcements. The existing information shows that each person has only awakened one talent, that is, only one ability. Therefore, they never imagined that Lin Kuan, who has the ability to jump, has another superpower of killing people in the blink of an eye. Therefore, it was naturally strange that such a group of ferocious Bacadans, who had to be treated with caution as a class, were killed by the man in the Zubaji mask, who did not look aggressive at all. It's like beating Thanos with a dance battle. Perhaps. His ability also has some attack effects that we don't understand. Wang Desheng whispered. Or maybe our previous judgment on this group of Bacadans was wrong. They are actually strong on the outside but weak on the inside. All the Bacadans are soldiers. They should have survived many civilized wars. To get the first batch of Bacadans to land in our world, even an irregular army cannot be weak. That person is definitely a master. Special ability. We can't let him die. Follow him and cover him. Wang Desheng also said. We are now at the time of hiring, and the higher-ups are also recruiting capable civilians. If we can get this person to join the military, that would definitely be a good thing. Zhang Bin quickly switched from hiding to taking the initiative, and military vehicles chased him. Zhang Bin personally set up the anti-tank gun and fired a blast, hitting it directly. At this time, 2 of the Bacadans on the airship had already been killed by Lin Qun, and the remaining 2 were half disabled. Attention, they were all focused on the Lin group behind them, completely unaware of this attack from the human army. Huge balls of fire flickered in the sky. Lin Qun shot the last Bacadan in the head and landed firmly. The wreckage of the airship fell in the middle of the road, blocking Lin Qun and the military team on both sides. Lin Qun gasped violently. Of the 4 Bacadans, 3 were killed by him, and 1 was killed by a bomb. During the chase just now, Lin Qun drank 2 bottles of energy recovery potion to ensure that his energy was online. Therefore, after killing indiscriminately, he only had 3 contribution points in his account at the end. There are 8 points left, but he gained 250 experience points. In the regional ranking, Lin Qun's total contribution points increased again. To Lin Qun's surprise, he even went 1 step further this time and reached the 3rd place. In front of him were Sha Qing and Qi Zichuan, whose total contribution points far exceeded his. If we can hold on to 3rd place before today's settlement, then he can get a reward of 10 contribution points. That's 4 more contribution points than the 4th place. That's the equivalent of 4 Bacadans and a precious opportunity to draw cards. This is definitely an unexpected surprise. What made Lin Qun even more excited was his airborne sniper was successfully developed, and after today's training, it can be said to be a small success. And this combo is extremely practical in actual combat, which is enough to greatly improve his survivability. At this time, the last ray of sunset on the horizon was being swallowed by darkness. Lin Qun, who had been using Mario skills to consume a lot of energy, raised his head with some panting, and saw the military soldiers on the opposite side. He had already noticed the military missile that shot down the airship. The road was blocked by the wreckage of the airship. Lin Qun couldn't get through, and they couldn't get through for the time being. At this time, the sound of marching suddenly sounded from the other side of the street. Zhang Bin's scouts ran over urgently. Squad leader, we found 15 Bacadans approaching us from the east. They are carrying heavy weapons and vehicles. Zhang Bin changed color. When Lin Qun heard this from a distance, his expression also changed. There was a lot of commotion on their side, and it was impossible that no one from the Bacadans came over. Zhang Bin knew he had to retreat. He took a deep look at Lin Qun across from the fire and said loudly, "What is your name? How can I find you?" Lin Qun was stunned for a moment, then with a thought in his heart, he stepped back and said in a loud voice, "I am Li Xinghe. Dragon City Emperor Scenery." Seeing Lin Qun disappear, Zhang Bin whispered, "Li Xinghe, I remember you. Building No. 5, Longcheng Dijing Community." Li Xinghe woke up from his sleep and sneezed loudly. Night falls. The silence that had been maintained for a whole day in Longcheng Dijing Community is being broken. Inside the community, intermittent gunshots and howls from humans or Bacadans can be heard outside. The appearance of Zhang Bin's troops is not accidental. In one day, the Bacadans have spread almost all over the city, and the human military is also spreading throughout the city. Several troops have arrived in the nearby area, but their arrival also brought a large number of Bacadans. Lin Qun's route returns to Longcheng Dijing Community faster. His ranking is firmly in 3rd place. The survivors at the entrance of the community have long disappeared, but there are more survivors active in the community. For a longer time, there will always be brave people who are unwilling to hide in the room all the time. The truth that everyone can understand is, you can hide for a while, but you can't hide forever. Lin Qun returned to the community, but did not go upstairs. He put away the Zubaji mask and rested on the bench downstairs. Night is more beneficial to the Bacadans, but it is also the same for Lin Qun. It's just that his physical energy was severely depleted and his energy was running low, so he needed some time to recover. He wanted to continue hunting as soon as he recovered. Earn more contribution points and secure the 3rd place in the East and LT, City District War Zone. Although he succeeded in counter-killing today, it made Lin Qun feel more crisis. Only by becoming stronger can he not counter-kill without danger, but no one can threaten his life. That's why he didn't go upstairs and was ready to return to the battlefield at any time. During this process, he kept alert while browsing the contribution point mall. The things here are mainly weapons, and there are a lot of them. 1 contribution point can be exchanged for pistols, titanium alloy daggers, machetes, etc., and 2 contribution points can be exchanged for shotguns and rifles. And 3 contribution points can be exchanged for small caliber rocket launchers. Lin Kuan held 3 contribution points and drooled over the rocket launcher for a while. Finally, he chose to exchange for a shotgun. 2 contribution points are exchanged for shotguns, and 1 contribution point buys 10 shotgun bullets. Just like the energy recovery potion, after the purchase option materialized, a black light flashed, and a heavy shotgun appeared in Lin Kuan's hand. 3 contribution points, insufficient card drawing. Lin Kuan wanted to convert them into self-protection ability in time. Shotgun is the best choice. It can be used as a substitute when his energy is exhausted, and it can defeat the Bacadans when advancing and kill people when retreating. This shotgun is semi-automatic, with a maximum of 5 bullets, which complements the headshot girl's ability. He took off his coat, wrapped the gun, and carried it on his back. The community was dark and shadowy. Everyone ran downstairs with their own purpose, enduring the smell of blood and danger. No one talked, and no one noticed Lin Kuan here. He sat for 7 or 8 minutes and heard a scream from the depths of the community. It was a Bacadan who climbed over the back gate of the community. He was a lone ranger and happened to be met by a fat survivor behind him. When Lin Kuan moved in this direction, the survivors in the shadows of the community were running back. To them, the Bacadans were a symbol of nightmare. But only one person was walking against the flow in the darkness. Lin Kuan approached and showed his gun. This was his first time to test the gun. The dull sound of gunfire echoed in the community. Lin Kuan was already a qualified Voldemort. With the help of darkness and familiarity with the community, the Bacadans did not notice him until the second before the shot was fired, until the shotgun spurted out the flames. The reaction force was a bit large. When Lin Kuan fired, he aimed at the head, but actually missed. Fortunately, the shotgun had a high tolerance rate. This shot also hit the lone Bacadan's body backwards, leaving a bloody hole on his body, and the front of his body was instantly bloody. These Bacadan armed civilians are not as powerful as their army. They wear strange clothes, but most of them are not armored. Although the accuracy is worrying, Lin Kuan is excited. This is the unique pleasure of shooting. If it were a human, being sprayed by a troll like this would have left him crippled if not dead, but the Bacadan was very ferocious, rushing up with a mace in his hand. Then, with a bang, the huge headless corpse fell to the ground with a bang. Lin Kuan activated the headshot female skill. There were only 9 bullets left, so he just wanted to try the gun for fun, and save the rest for when necessary. One of the reasons for choosing a shotgun is that it can be powerful without much practice of accuracy. Lin Kuan doesn't have so many contribution points to waste on buying bullets. With 1 contribution point in his account, Lin Kuan's 3rd place ranking became more stable. He immediately went forward to check the body of the Bacadan. This was definitely the worst Bacadan Lin Kuan had ever seen. It didn't even have a gun. Lin Kuan complained in his heart. The lone person may not be a big shot, but maybe a noob that no one wants. But at this moment, Lin Kuan heard a commotion in front of the community. The dark community suddenly became bright. Lin Kuan's heart moved, he wrapped up his gun, and walked forward quickly. He saw that along the road, the survivors in the surrounding communities were rushing downstairs, even Fan Wenchuan and Li Xinghe came out. Unlike the panic on everyone's face before, under the light at this moment, everyone's eyes lit up with the long-lost light of hope. It's the army. It's the army. The army is coming. We are saved. I said, the Federation has not given up on us. Lin Kuan also recognized the troops that came at this time. They were none other than Zhang Bin and his group who had just looked across the fire. They also got rid of the Bacadans and chased all the way to Longcheng Dijing community, but they needed to take a detour because of their location at that time, so they were late for a while. Zhang Bin was also surprised to see at least 100 survivors upstairs and downstairs of Longcheng Dijing building. He didn't expect so many people here. He stood on a high place and motioned everyone to be quiet. He said, "Everyone is quiet. We are soldiers from the 3rd Squad of the 9th Platoon of the 6th Company of the 2nd Battalion of the 3rd Regiment of the 6th Armored Division of the Federal Magic City. I am the squad leader Zhang Bin. We have not given up on you. Our main force is fighting with the Bacadans and is not at the disadvantage. We will do our best to protect everyone's lives and safety. I will guarantee this with my life, but we need your cooperation. I need you to stay calm and quiet, try not to make too much noise, evade and hide according to our requirements, and if you have enough strength and are willing to help us, please stand up and help us resist the Bacadans together. Quote. The crowd was slightly agitated. Can such a small number of people protect us? They said the army was coming. I thought there were so many people coming. It's over, such a small number of people, and they still need our help. We are dead. Where is the main force of the army? When can we get to a safe place? Everyone be quiet, we must trust the soldiers of the army. Zhang Bin looked at this scene, took a deep breath, and said, everyone, please be calm, we are only the first troop. As far as I know, there are 2 squads of troops gathering here. We have enough manpower to protect everyone's safety, but please cooperate. If you make too much noise, it is likely to attract a large number of Bacadans. Speaking of Bacadans, it made people calm down for a while. Zhang Bin's additional explanations seemed to be barely satisfactory. Everyone was quiet for a while. At this time, Zhang Bin glanced around and asked directly, you? Who is Li Xinghe? Quote. When this was said, everyone was very surprised. They didn't expect that this military soldier knew their master right after he arrived. Everyone turned around and looked at Li Xinghe, the super master, who was known to most people in Longcheng Dijing community. But Li Xinghe, who became the focus, had a stiff expression and a strange look on his face. Because just now in the chaos when everyone was running out, he was bumped by someone and a note was stuffed in his hand. It was written on it, if the military is looking for you, no matter what you ask, just say that you did it. If you do a good job, I will keep you alive. I will do what I say. How could Li Xinghe not understand? This is probably that big guy again. He wanted to cry but had no tears. I am a rookie, how could I be pushed out and used as a shield? But he was already riding a tiger and couldn't get off. He didn't dare to offend the big guy who was elusive and powerful, for fear that he would make him excited and his head would explode silently in the crowd. So, he could only grit his teeth and stand out from the crowd in the eyes of everyone. I am. Quote. The small note that Li Xinghe got. Naturally, it comes from the forest. A misunderstanding had already formed, so he simply went along with the situation. The situation was undecided, and Lin Kun didn't want to be a standout. If necessary, he would naturally cooperate with the military, but he was not prepared to get involved himself. In the apocalyptic era, people are panic-stricken and are surrounded by dangers. Being a standout carries great risks, and you may become the target of public criticism. Lin Kun is not the kind of person who wants to be in the limelight to the point of losing his mind. Let Li Xinghe take the lead to attract firepower and draw hatred, while he does the evil behind. This is the safest choice. Lin Kun must carry out the dirty tactics to the end. Moreover, what Li Xinghe got from it was abundant in supplies, and he didn't care about the so-called support. And Li Xinghe has enjoyed everyone's respect and Fan Wenchuan's filial piety, material, and now it is his turn to be the wind tree. Li Xinghe could only blame himself. If he hadn't boasted about his power in the beginning and tricked Fan Wenchuan into hiring him as a bodyguard, he wouldn't have reached this stage by accident, being hung on the stove and unable to get off. Although Li Xinghe was depressed, he actually understood this. Now that he stood up, he felt like a big stone had fallen in his heart. Because he always knew that he was not the big boss who killed dozens of Bacadans in anger. Regardless of whether this kind of replacement was popular with others, his behavior was no different from robbing people. He could kill more than a dozen Bacadans in his sleep. Li Xinghe asked himself that his ability was not enough to kill him if he pissed him off. He was really worried that the big boss would be angry and kill him backhandedly because he had gained people's popularity and supplies on his behalf. But now, the big boss has asked himself to take the lead, which at least means that the big boss still needs him. Moreover, with the big boss's guarantee, Li Xinghe felt relieved for no reason. As long as the mysterious master needs to be the leader, he probably won't let himself die easily. Thinking of this, Li Xinghe's footsteps became firm and he walked towards Zhang Bin step by step. Zhang Bin was also looking at him, his pupils shrinking. Wang Desheng whispered, "Is this the master?" So young. Zhang Bin wanted to organize manpower to set up defenses, so he simply said a few words to Li Xinghe and then asked Wang Desheng to pull Li Xinghe aside. At this time, Fan Wenchuan also came up and handed over half a pack of cigarettes first. Deputy Platoon Commander Wang, we have been waiting for you. I am the building commander of Building 5, and I am with Mr. Li. I am here. We have organized a lot of people. How do we retreat? I can say a few words to help you in our community, just give me your orders. He is very smart and immediately established military connections. Wang Desheng glanced at him, did not refuse, and pulled them aside. Said, I really need your help. We are short of manpower and cannot take so many of you to evacuate for the time being. Our current plan is to stick to the imperial view of Dragon City. I need you to cooperate with us in organizing manpower so that we can participate in the battle. Or those who are assisting in the battle, join us in garrison, and the rest will be concentrated in 1 or 2 buildings for our protection. Quote. He paused and stretched out his hand to Li Xinghe. We finally met. You are so awesome. It's the first time I saw someone chasing the Bakadan airship to kill. What kind of talent do you have? Oh, if it's inconvenient to say, you don't have to say it, but we need your power and ask for your help, but we won't let you do it in vain, let alone do anything too dangerous. We will provide you with food and medical supplies. If you family and friends will also receive priority protection. Fan Wenwen glanced at Li Xinghe with a strange expression. My people have been outside your door. When did you leave the community? Did you meet the military by chance? Li Xinghe was frightened when he heard this, and instinctively looked around. I wonder who this big guy is. Not only killing a dozen Bakadans, but also single-handedly hunting down the Bakadan airship. My B-level talent awakener is still trembling in the room, and others are already going crazy. What is this gap? What kind of monster master is this? But Li Xinghe just smiled awkwardly and politely. He is a fake boss, he can only say less, make fewer mistakes, and nod frequently. The situation was urgent, so they only chatted briefly for a while before Wang Desheng turned around and returned to Zhang Bin. Zhang Bin had evacuated the survivors at this time and was preparing to build a defense line based on the 3 buildings of Building 7, Building 5 and Building 3 to concentrate the survivors in this area. He said, is that, Zhu Baji, really him? Yes, although he is young, he speaks very little and seems a bit calm. He is not an ordinary person. Wang Desheng's words are conclusive. Zhang Bin, very good, we need to rely on him to organize a group of survivor self-defense forces to help us. Otherwise, with our small manpower, it will be difficult to take care of so many people. Zhang Bin led his soldiers to guard the surroundings and build simple fortifications. While comforting the survivors, he also kept in contact with other troops. According to them, 2 squads of troops were gathering here. This gave the survivors in the community hope, and they cooperated very much. Fan Wenchuan took the initiative to stand up, holding the banner of the military, and Li Xinghe, organizing survivors to sign up for the self-defense forces, and at the same time helping the military move survivors so that they could be concentrated in selected buildings. At this time, there was no concept of home or property, and the survivors crowded in while looking for a house. There are some survivors still wandering downstairs, wanting to get more information about the outside world from the army. Nowadays, information is blocked, and everyone is trapped in this corner. They are all eager to know what is going on outside. No matter what information, the more we know, the better. But unfortunately, the military is busy and has no time to take care of these people. Lin Kun was also one of the people who was not in a hurry to go upstairs. He regained some energy and wanted to see if he could catch the lone Bakadan. Time is moving towards 0, and Lin Kun is still 3rd in the region. He wanted to be completely stable. He is bound to get the 3rd ranking reward. Therefore, he slipped away and ran out directly, but he did not dare to go too far, and searched for places on the edge of the community where he could attack, retreat, and defend. He actually discovered a sneaky Bakadan who was suspected to be a spy. He seemed to want to spy on the internal situation of the Dijing community in Longcheng. It's just that there are people who are more familiar with the environment of the community than it is, and they are also more obscene. It squatted there thinking it was well hidden, but it didn't notice a figure approaching quietly. Kill instantly with 1 hit. The headless corpse fell to the ground spurting blood. As a person who can always come in second place when eating chicken, Lin Kun is quite talented in this area. 50 experience points and 1 contribution point are credited. 2 streets away from Longcheng Dijing community. The sunk airship was still on fire. But at this moment, the area was surrounded by Bacadans. Their huge figures looked even more ferocious and terrifying in the firelight. But at this time, they retreated to both sides and made some respectful concessions. A strange, Bacadan man slowly floated over. Its feet were off the ground, and its spider legs were retracted as if it were meditating. It floated in the void, silently, but exuded a frighteningly powerful feeling from its bones. The Bacadan people around it looked like they were in front of it. It's a child. After a moment, a Bacadan whispered, Master Carl, the great telepathic master, we have confirmed that there is a human settlement in front of us, with at least hundreds of humans in it, and the other 2 we are staring at carry a large number of the human army of human civilians is also gathering there. Very well, these human lives will become the wealth of us Bacadans. The global battlefield is about to begin, and it is very likely that advanced civilizations will invade our blockade. Before that, we must obtain as many contribution points as possible. Only by standing here can we steadily harvest the millions of people in this city. Remember, we are not only fighting for ourselves, but also for our civilization. The voice of Mr. Carl was low, but it sounded like hell. With such coldness, cure and gather our people around, in my name, we will catch them all. The surrounding Bacadans all lowered their heads in submission to this skinny-looking Bacadan. At the same time, near Longcheng Dijing community. Lin Kun was a little excited after killing one just after he came out. He wanted to keep up his efforts, but unexpectedly, the Bacadan spy was the last Bacadan he found nearby. He wandered around like a ghost in the night and found no other Bacadans. He knew that it was no longer safe outside. There were a large number of Bacadans gathering, and Lin Kun's energy had only been maintained at about half. In the end, he could only give up temporarily and retreat back to the depths of the community. In the community, most of the survivors have been dispersed and transported to several buildings. There are much fewer survivors downstairs, but Fan Wenchuan and the others have really formed a team of survivors. Lin Kun glanced around and saw the tall elite girl Chu Yue. Li Xinghe was chatting with her eagerly. But unfortunately, the girl with an amazing physique was not interested in this master who was famous in the community and was very aloof. He passed by here, and no one cared about him. Fan Wenchuan only thought that he was a weakling who was overestimating his abilities. How could he come to recruit him? Lin Kun was delighted to hear this and only glanced at it before hurried upstairs. There was nothing to kill, so he was going to take the time to rest, regain his energy, and stay in the strongest fighting condition. At this time, there were more people in Building 5 where he lived than before. However, in order to facilitate their escape, everyone basically concentrated on the first, second and third floors. Lin Kun's 7th floor was even more deserted than before, and no one came to snatch his room. When he went upstairs, he noticed a look in the crowd. It was Zhao Wen. This girl's eyes were inquiring. Lin Kun looked at her and without saying anything, went straight upstairs, and then fell into bed and fell asleep. This was not because he was lethargic, but because his energy was exhausted and he naturally felt sleepy. He fell asleep thinking about it. However, he didn't sleep for long before he was awakened by the sound downstairs. It seemed that Zhang Bin and the others had exchanged fire with the Bacadans. But when Lin Kun came to the window, the firefight had ended. The Bacadans were few in number and quickly retreated. This is a trial. The Bacadans have discovered this place and are gathering. The two main forces of civilization clashed on a large scale at the far end of the Magic City, and here, a terrible collision was brewing between the small-scale human army and the Bacadans. But Lin Kun's eyes were attracted by the flashing words in front of him. The countdown to the global battlefield is running out. And underneath that, a new row of text emerged. Yesterday's ranking has been locked. Congratulations, Yang. You are ranked 3rd in the regional ranking Modu War Zone Dong less than Cheng District War Zone. Reward 10 civilization contribution points. Unconsciously, the time has passed 12 o'clock, and the settlement is completed. At this moment, Lin Kun is still ranked 3rd in the Dongcheng District rankings, which is very conspicuous. Although settlement has been completed, the contribution point data will not be cleared. And those 10 contribution points have been received. Looking at that number, Lin Kuan felt a strange feeling of getting something for nothing. These 10 contribution points are simply for nothing. If you can get first or second place in the region, you will get 50 or 30 contribution points after settlement. If we can get a high ranking in a larger area, this number can even be doubled. Every 10 contribution points is a lucky draw opportunity. If he contributes enough points, he can also upgrade his card drawing skills. Lin Kuan was very moved. 10 contribution points can be directly exchanged for a card drawing opportunity. Draw a card. Soon, a card appeared. What is painted on it is A. Yellow bag. I also drew a Taoist bagua. What is this? Lin Kuan's eyes moved and soon showed an expression of surprise. Name: Chenkin bag. Type: item card grade, F grade. Description: using this item card, you can get an F-level universe bag, which contains 1*1*1 cubic meters of space. It can be opened or closed by mental power to access items. Is it present? Present. What Lin Kuan didn't expect was that he could also draw out things from the world of cultivating immortals. This is a storage treasure. Although it has no attack power and not much space, it can solve Lin Kuan's carrying problem. All his firearms and supplies can be packed into it and carried with him. Not only does it allow him to go into battle lightly, it also has unexpected effects. This is what Lin Kuan urgently needs. After the tool appeared, Lin Kuan quickly became familiar with the operation and application of this thing. He tied the palm-sized Chenkin bag around his waist and stuffed all the important supplies and shotguns in the house into it. It was full. Lin Kuan thought of more. Something that can draw out the world of immortality. If he could pull out any talismans or immortal skills, wouldn't he be able to manipulate his face with spells? But don't lose your mind by growing red hair all over your body. Moreover, this is the first time Lin Kuan has drawn a card of this type. Skill cards, item cards. What other types? Lin Kuan has unlimited expectations in his heart. But he suddenly felt a loud noise of shock and terror. There seemed to be a horrific explosion in the community. Half of the neighborhood was lit up. The glass in his kitchen was shattered, and the glass in his bedroom opened with a terrible crack. Lin Kuan stood up eagerly. Have the Bacadans begun their attack? A huge ball of fire rose from the ground. The whole neighborhood was awakened. It was a group of Bacadans that attacked. This was not a regular army, but a group of Bacadan armed thugs. They drove a cyberpunk-style tank and fired a rocket launcher, which directly detonated Zhang Bin's military vehicle. This is where the fire and explosion come from. Zhang Bin and others quickly entered combat mode, relying on the simple defenses they had initially built on the ground to engage in fierce exchanges of fire with this group of Bacadans. Outside the community, there was also intensive gunfire. The entire neighborhood seemed to be bathed in the flames of war. At this moment, the number of Bacadans appearing in Lin Kuan's sight alone exceeded the total number of Bacadans he had seen before. People in the community were in panic, but Lin Kuan put on his clothes and headed downstairs. Naturally, he wanted to go downstairs and hunt the Bacadans. Now that the military is resisting him head-on, this is his best chance to do something dirty. During the process of going downstairs, Lin Kuan realized that the firefight was no accident. It was another class that Zhang Bin said came over. They brought a large number of survivors, but they were also bitten to death by a group of Bacadans. Both sides were inside and outside the community. Fierce firefight. However, after going downstairs, Lin Kuan discovered that Zhang Bin had not activated the survivor self-defense force that Li Xinghe and others had just formed. Zhang Bin only asked them to stick to the entrance of the community building, while he led his soldiers to move forward quickly and exchange fire with the Bacadans in the community area as far away as possible from survivors. When Lin Kuan came down, there were gunfire outside. A tall survivor who was guarding the gate of the community and was also a member of the self-defense force was shocked when he saw Lin Kuan going out. Are you crazy? It's like this outside, why don't you go out? Just looking for death. Lin Kuan didn't answer and walked straight out. The tall survivor was a competent person, and he wanted to stop him, but was stopped by his companions. He said in front of Lin Kuan, I probably think that I have some ability and I belong to the protagonist. Don't worry about him, he is looking for death. just let him go. Brother, don't blame us for not reminding you, I hope you can come back alive. The last sentence is quite strange. Obviously, they all felt that Lin Kuan was a fool seeking death by running out now. Lin Kuan didn't say a word more and hurried out. Are you kidding me? It would be terrible if I were late and didn't have to kill him. He has planned his way forward. Hiding his figure along the flower bed, he was quickly cutting into the chaotic battlefield. At this time, the arrogant Bakadan chariot just now had been blown up and turned into a grand fireworks at the entrance of the community. With this as the center, Jongbin and others are exchanging fire with the Bakadans. There were casualties on both sides, and the Bakadans had no shortage of contributions. Their firepower was so fierce that Jongbin was almost beaten to the point where he couldn't even lift his head. There were also intensive gunshots and shouts outside. It was obvious that soldiers from another class were fighting with the Bakadans outside. They seemed to have brought many survivors with them, and the commotion was greater than inside the community. Lin Kuan quietly observed from a relatively safe position in the back. The firepower of the Bakadans was too fierce, and the two sides were exchanging fire. If they passed by on the ground like this, no matter how concealed they were and could lie on the ground, they would be looking for death. But Lin Kuan had no intention of giving up. In his eyes, these seemingly ferocious Bakadans in front of him were just walking contributions. At this moment, the number of Bakadans inside and outside the community may even exceed 30. As long as 10 can be hunted, it is a lottery opportunity. Lin Kuan was thinking quickly. He wanted to find a good location to hide and hunt. The two sides exchanged fire at the main entrance of the community, but on both sides of them were residential buildings. Wang Desheng even brought a small soldier with him to fight for the commanding heights of Building 1 on one side. Lin Kuan's eyes flickered and he looked at Building 2 opposite Building 1. If he could jump directly to that position, maybe he could get as close as 10 meters away. As soon as he thought of it, Lin Kuan turned to the back of Building 2, jumped on the spot, and rushed directly to Building 2. He turned around from the back of Building 2, and could see the bottom through the staircase window in the corridor. Below, the Bakadans were gaining the upper hand. A tall Bakadan man carried a quadruple rocket launcher on his shoulders and opened fire wildly, causing everyone on Jongbin's side to flip over. The two warriors failed to evade in time and were blown to pieces almost instantly. Back up, knock it off, knock it off. As soon as Jongbin's voice came out, he took another rocket launcher. If he hadn't avoided it quickly enough, he might have followed in the footsteps of the two little warriors. His expression changed instantly. These Bakadans have so much firepower that they massacred a large number of humans. Each hand has a large number of contribution points, which can be exchanged for weapons in the contribution point mall at will, and in turn massacre them humans. However, at this moment, under Jongbin's blood-red gaze, the head of the unstoppable bazooka Bakadan who was at the forefront suddenly exploded. Plasma splashed and he fell to the ground. Jongbin almost jumped up with excitement. Who is it? I want to give him credit. Quick, follow up, fight back, counter suppression. This blow was naturally delivered by Lin Kuan. He had found an excellent sniper position in Building 2 and locked his head to kill instantly. What surprised him was that the Bakadan man whose head he just shot was actually worth 100 experience points. 1 is worth 2. That Bakadan is actually an elite monster. No wonder he could charge with a quad-mounted rocket launcher. The reaction force was something that most Bakadans could not bear. However, no matter how skilled you are, if your physical fitness is less than 22 points, you will be killed instantly. And this is just the beginning. On the ground, the Bakadans and Jongbin's troops fought fiercely, and the Bakadans' attention was all on the human warriors. Not to mention Lin Kuan's hidden position, he used his ability to snipe and kill silently. Except for the angle of the blood splashing from his head, it was almost impossible to find him in the dark building number 2 by any means. It would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. And in this bloodthirsty chaos, who could find him? Even Jongbin didn't find anyone helping him in secret at the beginning. Until he was killing and killing, he was surprised to find that the group of Bakadans in front of them, who had just been evenly matched with them, had lost more than half of their members and were defeated all of a sudden. He realized that it seemed that someone was secretly killing the Bakadans. There are such people hiding in this community. At this time, the Bacadans in the battlefield inside the community no longer posed a threat and were defeated by the counterattack. At the same time, on the battlefield outside the community, the third squad of troops finally arrived late, attacking from both inside and outside. Seeing this, the Bacadans immediately began to retreat and quickly left the battlefield. There were survivors everywhere here, and the military gave priority to protecting the survivors and did not chase them. The troops of the three squads successfully joined together outside the community. In the shadow of building number 2, Lin Kuan was counting his achievements. He had just sniped from a high altitude and killed 6 Bacadans in total, earning 6 contribution points. Now the total number of contribution points has reached 7. The regional ranking is still stable in the 3rd place, and the gap of 7 contribution points has opened up with the 4th place behind. Of course, his energy is insufficient again, and the sage time has arrived. But this time, Lin Kuan killed 6 Bacadans and gained 350 experience points. He upgraded again and successfully raised his personal level to level 5. The attributes on his panel have been improved again. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.